Welcome to Game Changer World and welcome back, John Wolf. How are you doing tonight, brother?
I am doing better than I was last week. I don't know. I'm excited. I feel like I need to get out of everything and just come back and get back to business as usual. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. We got the big guy on tonight. Got a lot of fan questions for him. Got a lot of questions that we came up for him as well. And yeah, should be a fun, interesting night heading into this weekend's coming up shows and Homecoming LA in 2 weeks.
Well, I just wanted to kind of give a personal message real quick. I felt this was important. To the GCW community, we always preach togetherness on this show, and the community came out in full force to support me during a very difficult time last week. I sincerely thank you. I read the messages to my family, and they wanted me to also send along their thanks. Also to Brant, Frank, and Screwball, thank you so much for filling in and creating a show on very, very, very short notice. I appreciate you a lot for that, man. And we couldn't have done it without Screwball and Frank both able to just be there on the drop of a dime. So I nothing but thanks. I don't have better words than that. We love you guys so much. You make our evenings, you make our show, and we hope we do the same for you. There,
Yeah,
that's the sappy stuff.
you got a lot of love last week, and you got a lot of love in the chat even tonight. I don't know how much you want to go through it all, but
I haven't even. Well, we'll start here. Welcome to Clown. Screwball, do not fret, citizen. TJ from Havoc is over here. Nucci, Reed Harris Cooper. Who else do we have? The Crow Fairy Tale is with us. Big Bubba Perkins, good to see that you're in here. Aaron Coulter, Kyle Canyon. Wow. Let's see. William Bruno. I see that one also. Welcome. Who else am I missing? And I haven't even gotten to the nice statements yet. I'm just looking for names here. Hang Tight Promotions. Nice to see. This is a lot of people tonight. All right. No Robo. Welcome for you also. Mike Gooch is in here. I love the pictures, by the way. Thank you for tagging me. That's really super important. I love getting those to the fans. Let's see. Am I missing any names? Eddie Davila, welcome back. Good to see you again. Darkman is here. That may be a new one to me. If it is, welcome. You're going to have a good time tonight. El Juggalo is in the crowd. Looking forward to seeing what the Juggalo has to say tonight. We have that. If we get to the YDMP, situation. Oh, that's it. I'm in. I'm in. If I show up with paint on my
in
face
LA, you ain't gonna
no.
survive LA. You wear face to face.
I'll get my ass whooped in LA. Patrick Scroggins, welcome. Good to see you also. I am still rolling through names here. If I missed you, I am so sorry. I see Kelly Klein in here also. And Ellen Feldman, Snoopy with the glasses. Great name. Okay.
Yeah, TJ, I see you guys. Reed, don't worry, I'm good. It was John gets all the love. I'm good. Thank you guys, though.
No. Yeah, it was all around. It was a group effort by everyone. Also, Green Cane is in here. Barnacle Bill.
That's a new name, I think.
Oh, love that one. Okay, so yeah, people are starting to come in here. What's going on right now is that we started this show just a little later because we are waiting for Brett to go ahead and jump on with us. He is a busy father, and that's just the way it is. So we didn't want to sit on here and just jabber for an extra 15 minutes than we needed to. And we had a couple things that we could definitely talk about, and we're just going to do that until he comes on. I mean, we're sitting here just waiting for everything to go on. And yeah, so was there anything that you wanted to talk about, at least when it comes to, I believe, our show here on September 12th from Detroit? That's Friday. Looks like it's going to be Evil Deeds. Do you want me to name off some matches, or is this one of those things where you have one that, interests you here?
Well, Juggalo statement right there intrigues me a lot. I kind of would be fun to see a lot of Juggalos in the crowd and kind of see if the the GCW feud continues at Evil Deeds outside of that crazy tag match. I forgot, was it the
Riddle Box match?
Riddle Box, yeah. Outside of that, I'm interested to see how much further this feud will go, or if it will end in that tag match. But that would be a cool visual to kind of see in Detroit, and that intrigues me a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to just put this on because I'm so sorry, B. I wanted to put this on real quick because I've been waiting for this question for 3 years. If there's anything we do on this show, it's staying on late. We have always been asked for, if anything, 1 hour. We're averaging 7 minutes under 3 hours. With the way we do things, we have just a list. So if we start 15 late, we'll probably end 15 late. But we're talkers. So
just a little bit.
We'll see what happens. Now, I think you had Green Cane there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what happens there during the fun. If we'll kind of see what happened on the war that weekend, see kind of that bleeds into this weekend. But I think it'll be a very pro GCW crowd. But being in Detroit, I'm intrigued. Now I'm actually more intrigued than I was actually before. So Juggalo, you got me a little bit more hyped and excited for this weekend. Thank you. Because it's been such a busy weekend. I'd like to go down these matches because some of these ones I kind of missed, I guess, over the weekend.
Well, I have to agree here and also say more Juggalos in the Detroit, GCW show, I think would be an awesome thing. I don't know how it gets done. Visually, yeah, we're invading you. You're in art. Okay, first of all, if there aren't at least 10, 20 Juggalos on the Detroit territory in GCW, what are you doing, guys? I say you got to show out. If you can afford it only, you know what I mean? Don't stretch yourself thin over a show, but yeah, I'd love to see that. Just some faces painted in the crowd, kind of eerie.
Yeah, kind of like even like the first match, you just see one, and then second match, you see a couple more. Like as it kind of I would like to see it kind of build throughout the night. That would be cool.
All right, here. Let me look real quick. Oh, I lost it real quick. By any chance, do you have the Evil Deeds?
Yeah, I just pulled it up here.
Oh, I see it right here. Yeah, I'm still getting back to normalcy here, so I'm just jumping screens. I've got messages flying all over. So sorry, Gare.
No, you're good. First match, I guess, is that YDMP versus Brothers in Construction Riddle Box match. I'm still with this question here, Green Cane. What the fuck is a Riddle Box match? And I know, Reed, you were talking about last week, and I think there was another match outside of this one, Juggalo, that I saw someone else post that I actually need someone post it again, please, or send it my way. So I think I bookmarked it. If not, I want to bookmark it because I do want to watch it beforehand. But I don't know. Should I be surprised going into that match, or should I have some knowledge going into that match? What do you get? Have you seen one before, John, or no?
So I had heard that it has something to do with weapons in a box, but I also could be very wrong, or my information could have been very wrong when I was told. I don't believe this is one of those ones where you're going to need to know much to get into it. You know what I mean? Okay. It's like a standard death match in LA. You don't need to know too much. You know what I mean? They're going to tell the story for you. Reed Harris Cooper said that he's going in blind, and that might be the best way.
I'll just do that then. I'll save myself a little bit of time.
There we go. I was repping GCW at Juggalos Lunacy in August. Very nice. And yes, Crow Fairy Tale is saying there will be a box at the Riddle Box match. Let's see what else we have here. It makes me think of the old Miracle on 34th Street fight. Frankie, good to see you tonight, bud. There's our East Coast correspondent. I don't know if you heard me earlier, Frankie. Thank you so much. I just want to also say it publicly. Appreciate you so much for what you did stepping in there, bud. What else do we have here? When it comes to questions about just upcoming matches and whatnot, we're actually going to save that for Brett. I have a list of about 13 cities and states that we're going to roll through. If you do have any questions and you'd like to see if maybe we can get those included into show tonight, please go ahead and kind of add them to chat. And I'm hoping maybe B or I can try to get them in there. I will tell everyone though, we're rocking a lot of questions. I'm no lie. 9 pages of questions, and I condensed them from 50 to 70 comments that had come in. So, I mean, this is a good thing tonight. Let's see here. Let's get this in now. Yeah, so that YDMP Riddle Box match there, I think both titles are on the line, or is this just straight up Riddle Box match non-title? Do you know?
Hold up, I had it up here. It is,
because it doesn't. I don't think it says, does it?
So I don't know if it was last week or the week before when we were kind of talking about it. Someone kind of mentioned the possibility of in the boxes being the titles and maybe both companies' titles in there, and maybe that's how this could kind of end, but it still kind of ends on a tie, as we were very much complaining about before. It is for both titles. Okay, I thought I saw that too first when it was first mentioned. So yeah, I'm interested. I have no idea what it is. I love those kind of matches. Like Raven had that Clockwork Orange match back in TNA. Like they had some crazy matchups. So the original match, yeah, that's what I thought I saw too on the very first one. So yeah, that would be. I want us to see how what happens. Stop tying the titles together. I'm cool ending this feud on a tie. Like let's take a break and then maybe revisit this next year or something like that. Because I need a little break right now. I think with Homecoming kind of coming up, I feel like this show, I hope, as we'll talk about later, maybe leads a little bit more into what could happen at Homecoming. I think Homecoming is the bigger show next coming up.
I wanted to just highlight this for a second because two people came up and said this. I miss the Kirks, and we had another one that said, miss the Kirks too, man. B and I, were very fortunate to get Brandon Kirk's last long form interview. One of his few, I think, real serious interviews he'd ever taken on, and a very rare interview. If you go ever look up Game Changer Weekly over there, you can also look up the word of, and you'll find him. That's all there is to it. I think we went, like 2 hours with him?
Yeah, I think it was right before the, not Hammerstein show, right? Was it like right before he announced his retirement? I think like a week before, even a couple of days before that happened.
We were extremely fortunate, is all I can say, because we didn't know at the time. We had absolutely no idea that was what was going on. And
he was awesome. Yeah. Just like a lot of our interviews, like we go in thinking one thing, but we leave like afterwards, like, wow, that was so much better than we hoped for. And yeah, Brandon Kirk definitely was one of those interviews. We definitely had that comment afterwards.
What other matches stick out to you on this card here for Evil Deeds in Detroit?
I'm excited to see Rejects versus Pillars. Anytime I get to see the Pillars, I'm excited for that one. The craziness of Mance Warner versus Beastman. I think that's going to be interesting. Harpos is in for a wild ride there. And Megan Payne, Shotzi. That's a strong matchup there too. Name value, that possibly could be the main event. I think they might do the title match, but just off name, that's a very strong matchup to carry this card. And Tremont Bev versus actually, let's talk about all these matches. Tremont Bev versus Kogers. That's going to be fun. I'm interested to see how Bev kind of ends up in this feud. His return was interesting with the 440 shirt. So that going into the Atticus's kind of said he's off of Mason for a little bit and moving towards this, but I don't know. Like he's still sending a lot of tweets on it. So how Bev fits into it is interesting. And yeah, I don't know what the 4-way tag was. I think that was the really good match that could be possibly like, I think we were talking about it, Screwball, that should be like a #1 contenders match for the GCW tag titles. I just don't have the names on here. It says 4-way tag match.
Well, okay, so on my end anymore, it's like anybody versus Mance is going to be a good match. It just seems like that's where it is right now. And, we have, is it LA that we have Mance versus Bear Bronson? I mean, that's a quality match, dude.
That was the one match like when I saw those two names, like please, and we got the other one just announced too. We got Doc and Tremont. Like those are the perfect matchup. Those 4 names were announced. Those are the 2 matchups I wanted to see. So I'm excited. And as you said, Mance is having classics, GCW classics in GCW as of late.
And then the Rejects and the Pillars, like Detroit is pillar country. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Tommy especially has such a high amount of personality. I've been wanting to see him more at GCW anyway, just based on the fact that he's so colorful.
Same with him, and I kind of lean the other way. I love MM3 a little bit more. I think he's has a personality for me, and his in-ring style more suits me. But I love Vendetta. Anytime we get to see him, he's awesome to see too. So Pillars, welcome GCW anytime.
Hell yeah! And then I'm right there with you. I think that Bane and Blackheart could be a main event. I really do. And man, isn't it LA's Effie and Shotzi? I could see maybe a possibility of Shotzi going over Effie.
Yeah, we had that was one of the questions last week. Who do they think is going to win the title? And we had a lot of names. Shotzi was a very easy name to throw in there too, with her affiliation with Killer Cross and Scarlet now too, and seeing how if they're going to come back and get involved in GCW again, which I hope so. That I think that should be the main event of Homecoming. I no offense to Redacted and Tremont, I think Effie having the Homecoming in LA as world champion should definitely get that moment.
Yeah. The other one here was Tremont and Bev versus the Kogars. You were mentioning that for a second also. It looks like with all of the little vignettes, or not vignettes, but just the interference and whatnot, it seems like we are getting more of the Bev at GCW. And I believe I saw someone in chat here that was saying they like the Bev at GCW. So as long as it doesn't turn into a new 440 type situation, but it's okay to play off that drama, which it looks like they're doing. Yeah.
I hope he kind of plays like how Manders played off of SGC, kind of created his own name and value off of there. I think that's why I kind of hope the Bev does. And I hope maybe teaming with Tremont and squashing this whole beef with 440 might lead him to kind of his own path.
So then this was brought up by our favorite fajita cologne from last week. Allie return at Homecoming to screw Shotzi over. I'm going to flip it. Allie return at Homecoming to screw Effie over. Which one's more fun? I don't know. Okay, let's talk about that. What happens if Allie comes and fucks over Shotzi? Obviously, then that's a fuck you, Shotzi. That sets up Shotzi and Allie. And then Effie and Allie are friends now, correct? Is that how that would look?
I don't know. Like we kind of, when we were talking about last week, we were saying, yeah, like with Allie, she could go any way. She could come back and be the face and maybe reunite with Effie and just kind of qual off the whole thing. Because if last we kind of saw, Effie was helping her out and kind of checking in on her, but that's obviously not long time ago, and who knows. But she could also come back and continue that heel character that she never really got to fully develop. And I want to see a different version of it, but also we could see Effie turning heel and kind of being heel Effie. And I hope it's not like evil Bussy. I want to see them kind of go their separate ways, but as he was kind of as Bev, I want to see him kind of create his own as a singles competitor away from 440. I'd like to see kind of Effie and Allie. Someone, I think it was Screwball last week, said a possible double turn would be kind of cool to see. But yeah, Allie coming back would make a lot of sense too at Homecoming, causing a lot of chaos, but there's so many possibilities with her. I think that would be the more awesome pick to kind of walk out of Homecoming LA with the title.
Allie screws Effie, Shotzi wins, Megan cashes it. That's some fucking booking. Please. But this is Homecoming LA.
Please, let's have I said that, like, I think we were talking about it before, even when you were last on. I want chaos. Homecoming LA, end it in chaos. Why not? Like, let's have all these returns, just like the first match was at AC. Look just imagine a whole show kind of like that, of ups and downs and twists and turns and ending the night in chaos. Like, how awesome that would be, just having that one moment we had AC all night long. And we
looks like we got busy real quick.
Yep.
Do you want me to go ahead and switch screens real quick, or do you got it, bud?
I got it, and here, let's bring him on. There we go.
Welcome, Brett Lauderdale. Hello. How you doing, bud?
Maybe we're on the delay.
I thought we heard him for a second.
Yeah, we heard you, Brett. I don't know if you could hear us, though. You probably swiped out of the window.
He could have. He'll get it figured out.
I think we hear his background, but he doesn't hear us. Yeah,
that's okay. He'll be coming back in a second. I just saw him leave and bounce back. We'll just, I mean, yeah, there you go.
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, he's gonna figure his stuff out here. He's being a dad, so we're just wanting to make sure that we get everything together here. Ooh, looks like you started.
I'm so behind on chat. I'm so behind on the chat. I'm like, trying to star some stuff. That's how far behind I am.
No, you're good.
Talking.
You're keeping everybody busy tonight. This is fantastic. I'll go ahead and get the screen, Brent. 1 second, and add to stage.
Hello.
How you doing tonight, Brett?
We hear you, buddy. Nope, I don't think he hears us.
Either he don't hear us or we don't hear him.
No, we hear him. I think that's his background. I think he's like, he said hello again. All right, well, let's see. Let's see if he stays on or not.
He's trying to figure out audio. I've got him on Messenger right here.
Okay. And I'm still catching up on chat, guys.
Brett, your audio, there's an option there. Your audio may have to be changed to something else. I wish I knew more.
Yeah.
He said he has his volume all the way up. He can barely hear anything.
Oh,
I don't know what to do there. We've got everything. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing at the bottom that he could do either.
Oh, I feel bad. I don't know what to do. Maybe are you able to go to a computer, Brett? Because he may be on his phone. Yes, sir. Maybe switching to a I don't know, maybe switching to a Bluetooth speaker. But if you do that, you may have to turn on echo cancellation. So we're having a real conversation in real time. Yeah, so he's going to get that figured out. No big deal. He's done this show a couple times before. So let's see. Was there anything else on that Detroit show? Because I feel like we really covered that one pretty good.
Yeah, we covered that one. I got Phoenix up if you want Phoenix too real fast.
Oh yeah, you know what? I don't have Phoenix up. Yeah, what you got on that one?
So we have Bear Bronson teaming with Matt Tremont. Bear Dozer going against the Wolf Zaddies. That one's gonna Raleigh. Sorry, that one might cost you some deposit money there because that is going to be crazy. Yeah, that one I think has one of those just Nile Theater, just tear the house down kind of vibes, and that one's going to be fun.
All right. Yeah. Oh, look at that. He said the technical wizard Ash is in chat somewhere. There he goes. He said unmute. Yep. We're gonna figure it out. Ash, give Brett a call and have him get on his computer. He's got tech support at all times over there, I swear. Yeah, so Bear Dozer, I think that was a name we were talking about on here before. That's a dangerous ass team if they ever wanted to go for the tag team titles even.
Yeah, that is a strong tag team. We were kind of talking about too, like maybe the tag titles go a little ultraviolet for a little bit, like kind of how we saw with Macisos and their title run. And just kind of we've seen a lot of multi-person death matches as of late too. And I think that's kind of like these deathmatch tag teams. I would love to see that kind of, even if it's not for the titles, these kind of matches just continue on. They've been fun to see.
Yeah. And I just want to go back for a second because I think it was Reed Harris Cooper. We skipped Indy this weekend.
Oh, I'm about to say what?
Yeah,
I thought Detroit was this weekend.
Yeah, Detroit and Indy.
Oh, and Indy. Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, so Indianapolis. This is Saturday, September 13th. YDNP versus our guys, Derice and Slater. We're gonna have them back over here. As long as everything goes well, that should be for the GCW Tag Team Championship.
And that's a match when I think we first saw those guys in England on that first tour. This was kind of a matchup I think I was begging for. I think you would like to enjoy it too. That I love those guys, and see Boisterous be able to get the tag title shots is going to be fun.
And something that's big for the GCW community, but also really huge to me, I love that we're going to be getting to see Cole Radrick for just a little bit.
Yep, in his hometown. I'm interested to see what happens there. Even if it's just for a little bit, even on commentary for some of the night. Nice to see Cole back.
I'm hoping we get to see a little, just a little commentary. It'd be nice just to get that familiar voice back on the headset just for a while would be awesome. Really, really, really looking forward to it. We'll see what goes down there.
Isaac, man, we can't ask that question. Like I said, I think that's trademarked, and we'll save that one for Muscle Man. Shout out to Rival Wrestling.
Also we have okay, we have Brett back in here. Give me a moment. You got that, B, or you want me to get it? All righty, let's get him in here. Welcome to the show, Brett.
We could hear you.
I know you can hear me, but I can barely hear you.
Oh, still barely. Damn.
How awkward. Yeah.
What?
I don't know what to do. Unfortunately.
I know. Hold on. I'm thinking.
I can use my big boy voice here.
Well, can you hear me right now? Okay.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right. Well, we'll just do it like this. I'm literally holding it up to my ear, but we'll do that.
Oh no. Okay.
That's all right.
All right. Well, then I think the best thing is to get down to business here. First order. Last week on Friday, September 5th, you celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the Nick Gage Invitational. I just want to say congratulations to you, Brett.
Well, thank you. It's been a fast 10 years somehow.
Yeah. I've seen how time can go really quickly also. Brant and I also just want to say thank you for allowing us to run the podcast and providing a place for the fans. It does mean a lot to them and a lot to us. So we really appreciate you, man.
Well, no, I appreciate you guys stepping up and doing it. And I wish I could be a part of it more. I wish I could do more to help, but there's so much going on right now. But it seems like you guys have figured it out and you got a pretty good following, and I appreciate your passion and I appreciate everybody that listens. So thank you everybody for the support.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, let's rock and roll into it right now. Who were your wrestlers growing up? Easy question.
Ric Flair, Ultimate Warrior, Brian Pillman, Hulk Hogan.
Now, do you feel who you watched growing up influences your decisions toward picking talent today?
Maybe a little bit, but the style that I grew up watching doesn't really exist anymore. So, it doesn't really fully apply, but, when it does apply, of course there's some influence, but that we're in such different eras that, it's limited.
Yeah. And you're a big body guy or a tall guy also, right? We kind of watched close to the same era.
Me personally, yes, I'm a very tall guy.
Now we got through that. When did you get onto the independent scene? I mean, was this a teenage Brett or was this still a younger Brett?
No. Well, was it? I guess technically it was, but late teenager. But I was actually, it was actually kind of by accident. I had, trying to see if I can remember the first show. I believe my first ever independent show was a Frank Goodman USA Pro show in Queens, New York, and I only knew about it because I was in a bar and saw a flyer that had said Iron Sheik appearing. Something it was, I don't know, it was Iron Sheik or Abdullah the Butcher or somebody appearing next week, and I was like, oh, where is he going to be at? And it had the name of some wrestling show, and I didn't really know what it was, and I saw what it was, and I was like, oh, there's other wrestling out there. And then I went to it and I learned that there's a whole world of independent wrestling.
When did the idea of I want to own a wrestling company first happen for you?
Well, I don't know about own, I mean, maybe that was maybe a dream of some kind, but it was more wanting to be a part of it and wanting to be part of, producing shows as opposed to, I don't know that owning was ever something that seemed realistic to me, but, when I was a kid watching wrestling and a teenager and whatnot, going to big WWF shows and, Nitro and Raw and pay-per-views and whatnot. I was always as fascinated and interested by the production and the setup and the logistics and the idea of how it works as much as I was by the actual wrestling going on in the ring. So I think it was early on that I started thinking about like, how do I do this? But not like how do I wrestle, but how do I make this happen?
Mm. And have you ever thought of managing before, or was it straight to referee for you?
No, I never really wanted to be an on-screen character like that. I never wanted to be. It never, I never seriously wanted to be like a wrestler or a manager. Me being a referee was. I never wanted to be a referee either. It just kind of happened. I always wanted to. My first direct involvement in the indies, was at CZW, and I just wanted to help out any way I could. And I would go to the training. It's without reliving my entire story. Me becoming a ref was because I used to go to the training every week at the ECW arena, and when they would do the practice matches, they would need somebody to be the practice ref. So I would always volunteer to do that. And, I liked it, and I was good at it, and they thought I was good at it. And, they told me, eventually, be ready just in case, if we ever need you, we're going to, call on you. And one thing led to the next, and eventually they did need me. And that's how I became a ref at CZW and everywhere else.
So you started to get the bug, and the stage is kind of a drug, and you got up there and you're like, this is wonderful.
Well, I mean, it was cool because, there's more to being a referee than, just counting 1, 2, 3. There's a lot that goes into it. Yeah. And, there's a lot of ways that you can contribute to matches as a referee too, especially when you get to know the wrestlers and, they can use you as a tool in the match. And, I tried to be as effective and I tried to be as helpful as I could to wrestlers in matches, whether it's, something as simple as suggesting ideas or helping to come up with ideas on the fly or passing messages or just knowing where to be at the right time or being able to anticipate what's going on or what's coming next and making sure that things run smoothly, because a good referee can do all those things. And I took pride in being good at that. And, a lot of people liked having me as their ref. So, at some point it's, you realize like, hey, there's more. Once you realize there's more to it than counting to 3 and you can contribute, that became, of interest to me.
Well, I was running through some of your old matches there, and I wanted to give you credit for New Jack's first retirement versus Necro Butcher, PWS Supercard from April 5th, I think, 2013. When it comes to
I remember that. Yeah. I think I did 2 different New Jack retirement matches, to be honest with you.
You did a great job.
I do recall that. I do recall that. That was during an early WrestleMania weekend, indie weekend, before everybody had figured out. I think it was during the first MetLife WrestleMania weekend. But yeah, I remember that being it was crazy. It was fun, especially at the time. It was like, it was a dream match, and retirement match. And yeah, it was cool. I mean, New Jack the legend and Necro Butcher a legend. So yeah, that was awesome to be a part of that.
Polar opposites also,
Yeah. Yes. Definitely.
And they worked,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I ended up reffing a second New Jack retirement match, which had also had Necro Butcher in it and Nick Gage, I think. Maybe like 2 years later or 3 years later.
I'm looking at it right now here. Okay. Yeah. Shoot. His last match had the Rejects in it. New Jack. I'm looking.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
And yeah, when I say I reffed his retirement match, I didn't really ref his retirement match, just at the time,
We had a three-way: Tremont, New Jack, and Gage.
That's what it was. Not Necro Butcher. It was Gage, Tremont, and New Jack. I was the ref of that as well.
Ooh, ouch. Fast forward a little bit. What do you miss about Game Changer World, the venue?
Well, Game Changer World was, it was the Wild West. There was, for a number of reasons, it was the Wild West. There wasn't a lot of, there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't a lot of, I'm trying to think of what the right word is. There wasn't, the people in charge didn't really care. They were, and I'm trying to think of what the way to describe it is. I mean, they were very laid back, even on their own events. A lot of shit went down at Game Changer World, not just at GCW, but during concerts and whatnot. And it was just kind of the style that, anything goes there, and it did.
So it's like having a friend who lives out in the country where nobody says anything and you just let it fly.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's what happened. It didn't last forever, but that is what happened.
Now, who were the wrestlers that you felt were the most instrumental in GCW taking off in those early years? Because it seemed like there were a lot of names that were really putting it on the map for you.
Of course there were. And, at least as far as the deathmatch side of things goes, when GCW first came into prominence, there was a major lull in the genre going on in the United States. There was not a lot of competition. It was the same old people kind of doing it, and nobody had done it well in a long time, especially in the Northeast. And there was an opening, and there was a lot of hungry fans and hungry wrestlers who needed something to come along to jumpstart things. And that's what GCW was. And it just kind of opened the floodgates, not just for GCW, but for all of deathmatch wrestling. And the impact is still, the ripple effect is still going on today. It made, deathmatch wrestling a thing all over again. But the people who, in my opinion, really blew GCW up at the beginning, of course, Joey Janela and Zandig and Nick Gage, but also, outside of those marquee names, it was guys like Miedo Extremo and Ciclope and G Raver even, and all the guys of that era they were all going 110 miles an hour every match at GCW, and it was just the perfect storm. Everybody was at the top of their game. They were the most motivated. They were, everybody had nothing to lose. The wrestlers, the GCW, the promoters, me, we all had nothing to lose. So everybody put it all on the line in every match, and that's what you saw.
They wrestled so hungry, and it just came across on camera so well.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it was like the entire genre had been held down and had been, dormant for years. So it was like once those floodgates opened, it was everybody coming up for air at the same time, and everybody wanted their piece of it, and everybody wanted to do their part and make their contribution to putting deathmatch wrestling back on the map.
Okay, so jumping ahead a little further, when you first saw the Carousel Room, what were your initial thoughts on that place?
Well, when I first saw it, it was not wrestling venue ready by any means. When the first time I did a walkthrough there, first of all, half of the Carousel Room was an arcade. It was a really, rundown, shitty arcade. And I don't mean like the arcade that's in there now. I mean, it was like there was a vendor that it was renting the space and plugging in their arcade machines. And and it, there was an old shitty carpet on the ground, and I mean, it was just very run down. Like if you just picture like an old, not to steal the phrase, but if you literally just think of like an old bingo hall with a shitty carpet and bad paint and just worn down, and I mean that's what it was like. That's what the Carousel Room was like. It still had that ceiling, the multicolored ceiling. There was glimpses of what it would become, but it was just an old, worn down ballroom in a worn down casino hotel. So, it changed a lot from the time that we first walked in there to the time that we had our last show there.
And then when you looked up at that ceiling, did you go, okay, this will totally work for Deathmatch? They will see the dichotomy of both? Or was this one of those things where you're like, it's a good price, it's a good room, I'm going to take what I can get. It's, great location.
Well, I mean, I didn't literally see magic, when I looked at it, but what I did see was opportunity. And I saw the Showboat at that time was a partner. They were an eager partner, and they had nothing going on, and they had, I mean, they were, I don't necessarily want to say that they were struggling, but there was nothing going on there. And, they were looking for something to, they were looking for activity and looking for somebody who could bring people in and fill hotel rooms and show that the Showboat could be a venue and a site that hosts events and conventions and so on and so forth. So, we were almost like, I don't want to say we were a guinea pig for them, but they were looking for a credible partner and somebody that wanted to grow with them, and we were looking for the same thing. So it was an imperfect, perfect match.
And then did you think this place would become a GCW fan favorite when it was all said and done?
Well, I always believed that it was possible, but I also thought that it would be very challenging, because anybody who lives in New Jersey or in the tri-state area knows that getting to Atlantic City or going to Atlantic City is not convenient, even for people that live in New Jersey. So, it's not a beautiful city. I mean, it is in our, to us it is, but there are a dozen other shore towns in New Jersey that are much nicer than Atlantic City. People don't really go there, unless they specifically want to gamble or smoke crack. So, it's tough to convince people to go there, So, I was worried about that, but also at the same time, we didn't have a lot of options. So we're going to make the best of this and give it our best shot and see if people like it. And they did. And, it turns out, Atlantic City is, I mean, there are some really cool things about it. I mean, yes, it is literally, there's a very cool boardwalk. It is right on the beach and right on the ocean. So, as long as you don't cross the street into the, the hooker hotels and the crack dens, it's not the worst place, So I think it's just, once we were able to kind of get in that groove and, and accentuate the best parts of Atlantic City and show people what those were, people became comfortable with it and wanted to come there and be a part of it.
Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, GCW took a double hit and lost a ton of momentum. The formation of AEW combed through the indie talent pool in 2019 and thinned it out. And then unfortunately, the pandemic hit in 2020. Now, we've had some big shows in 2025, a couple top 50 shows. Do you feel GCWs have recovered like most of its momentum?
Well, it's hard to say. I feel like there's been several different cycles over the last 5, 6, 7 years. There's been a lot of waves of momentum, and it is a roller coaster of sorts. I've had times where I felt like, a couple of years ago, where I felt like, not necessarily that we were in trouble, but that we were, stagnant, and we were losing momentum, and then we'd make adjustments and pick it back up and get hotter than ever. So there's definitely been periods of up and down. It's, even right now, we have some markets and some shows which are doing great, and then others which are not doing as well as they usually are. So it's, but that's not all. Some of that has to do with the wrestling world, and some of that has absolutely nothing to do with the wrestling world. There's more going on in the United States than independent wrestling, and those things going on, have an impact on everybody's activities and everybody's, income and choice of what they do on weekends. So, we're at the mercy. We're partially responsible for our own success or failure, but there's also other things going on in the world which play a role in people's habits. So, like COVID, that's something that's totally out of our control, and you just kind of have to, when times are tough, you have to weather the storm. And when things are going well, you have to take advantage and ride the wave and just make the most of your momentum.
That segues into the next question. There's not a book written that teaches you how to be a successful promoter. A mentor is the best you can really hope for. You're constantly learning from your own mistakes, and the rest you deal with as it comes. What were a couple of the bigger mistakes you've learned from that help things run smoother now? A good example or two: ensuring strong internet signal, venue provided chairs, having a broom. Have you learned over the years by accident some things that you've learned now that have been helpful?
Of course, but a lot of stuff like this is just common sense stuff, but yeah, I'm just trying to think of and there's still, I do still make mistakes today and learn things today. Sometimes you think you know everything and then you realize you don't. So that stuff happens to me all the time. There's stuff happens all the time that, well, this has never happened before. And you have to, adjust to stuff like that on the fly. And, sometimes you just have to make the best out of a bad situation. We've had that happen many times. So, wrestling is so fluid, and the business, it's one of the most volatile businesses, especially on the, on the professional and independent level. Anything can change any day. Just, and you mentioned some prime examples. The formation of AEW literally changed everything. COVID changed everything. And the things after COVID were not the same as they were before. It was never the same again. So the wrestling business changes every day, and it can change tomorrow. So things can happen above our pay grade that have dramatic effects on us, and not as a result of anything that we did right or wrong. A promoter's, a Tony Khan or a TKO can make major changes to our level of the business. They can make minor changes to their business that have dramatic impacts on the way we do business negatively if they want to. Or if they don't, into whether they want to or not, they can just wake up on a Tuesday and say, oh, let's try this from now on, or, and it could fuck us up. So you can never get too comfortable and complacent, and, you always have to be on your toes because anything can happen at any time. That's a lesson that I've learned firsthand.
Now, given you've had 10 years of practice to kind of iron things out, and there's a ton of other variables here, do you find it harder or easier to book talent now?
Well, booking talent, I always say this, when it comes to being a successful promoter and running shows, the booking the show and booking the talent and the card and the matches, that's honestly the easy part. And it's the last thing, when I talk to new promoters or people who want to promote a show or who are thinking of doing one or are laying the groundwork, a lot of times, you'll get these eager, beginners, and the first thing they want to tell you is, oh, I booked this guy. I'm going to do this match. And it's like, that's nice, but have you found the venue yet? Have you figured out how much it's going to cost to run the venue? Do you have a ring? Do you have, have you figured out what it costs to book a hotel or the travel for this person, or how much is this, and have you figured out that, and who's going to do your production and all this. And people think it's so easy. People think that running a wrestling show is literally just fantasy booking a wrestling lineup, and it's again, for me, that's the easy part, picking the matches and everything. It's everything else that goes into it and managing it all that is going to make or break your success as a wrestling promoter. Anybody can run, anybody can book. That's another thing about indie wrestling, which is so weird in the wrestling business, is really anybody can be a part of it. If you have a couple bucks, you can run a wrestling show. Doesn't mean you should be running wrestling shows, but you can. And that's what separates those people that have a couple bucks and can run a wrestling show from the people that are running a wrestling business. So the booking the matches, booking talent. I mean, yes, of course it's easier for me to do it now than it was when we started. People are eager to work for GCW. I don't really have to sell anybody, on I don't have to talk them to talk them into coming to work for me. A lot of them, they know what's up now, and people now look at GCW as a big opportunity. So that does make my job a little easier in that respect. And you just kind of, for me, again, there's more to putting a show together than fantasy booking your favorite wrestlers and your favorite matches. You may have a dream match or two great wrestlers that you want to see have a match, and you think, oh, this versus this guy versus that guy would be awesome. But it's not always that simple. Those are these are other things you learn when you're booking shows, especially in a high volume like GCW is, or AEW or WWE. You start to learn about each individual wrestler and their strengths and weaknesses, and who they work well with and who they don't work well with. And those are little things that go a long way. People don't always think about that when they're thinking about, I want to see this match and that match. And I don't expect fans to think of that, but promoters or matchmakers or bookers, whatever you want to call them, those are other little things, that go into it, that can make the difference in your show being good or bad, successful or not successful. So those are all little things you pick up over the years if you're doing.
I was listening to an interview with Ricky Otazu, who was one of the people who was instrumental.
Oh man, Ricky O. Call him Ricky O.
You know what? I had to put it out there because I respect the guy. I almost said Mister. I'm going to talk about that later once we go off air for about 5 minutes. I took notes on an excellent interview that he just given. And he said that there's such a danger of some of these people coming in and hot-shotting an area. If you have a little money underneath, you give the venue double. And then when somebody else tries to come along, they can't afford the venue price and this and that. And yeah, it can get messy real quick. And I didn't realize how much until Ricky really started banging it out, that you can screw up talent pay, you can screw up the venue, and it can be a real mess.
Well, Ricky comes,
yeah.
Ricky, this is, I'm a big Ricky O fan, and I have respect for him, and I owe a lot to Ricky O. But Ricky came up in an era where the indie wrestling business was a real carny business, and that's what it was about. It was all about working the venues and working the fans and working the it was a carny business, and it was the way the business, and it was a lifestyle almost, and people did do that. The promotions that were around back then, there was, as crazy as it sounds, I feel like it was a lot. I feel like there was more dirty tactics going on back then than there are now, as crazy as that sounds. He came up with guys like Dennis Coralluzzo are you guys familiar with Dennis Coralluzzo?
Yeah, he had to call up Ricky O because Ricky told this story. He said that Dennis had to call him up because one time at a show, his credit card ended up missing and someone charged like 44 flights on the card. And that ended up into a big problem.
Yeah, I don't know that story, but the bottom line is, I mean, Dennis was the ultimate. And I say this as a tribute to him. He was the ultimate carny scam artist promoter. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but I mean, this guy had, he's notorious and legendary for it, the ticket sellers and running the questionable fundraisers and, I mean, that's just the way it was back then. And that's where Ricky O started, so Ricky O saw it all, he saw all those underhanded tactics up close and personal. And yeah, thankfully a lot of that stuff doesn't exist as much as it used to, but that was just the way wrestling was, it was all these carnies fighting each other.
I do have one quick question, kind of talking about the promotions here. We got an interesting tweet either 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago from LA Fights. Is there anything we could expand upon on LA Fights or not at the moment?
Well, I don't know that there's anything to expand upon yet, but I think about it all the time, and I'm the LA wrestling scene. It's really hard to get a read on it right now. GCW show coming up in a few weeks, our GCW LA Homecoming, as it's called. It's going to be a sellout, which is great. We're on the way. It's closing in, and it's trending. I mean, I would be shocked if it does not sell out at this rate. But it'll be the first complete sellout in a few shows in LA. And I don't live in Los Angeles, but I try to pay as much attention as I can to what's going on out there, and it feels like we're in a weird time in Los Angeles wrestling, independent wrestling history. With no PWG now for a couple of years, I think it's been, and there's really no major regular local promotion or major outside of GCW event that runs regularly, if you consider GCW to run regularly in LA. And I can't tell if that's I can't tell if that's because there's not a fan base to support multiple indie wrestling companies right now, or if it's just because nobody's come along to inspire the fans to come out. I mean, of course, I think we do a good job with that, and the fans that we've had, and we always, just to be clear, we always draw very well in Los Angeles. A sellout is significant when we get at the UCC, but there was a time where there was multiple big shows in Los Angeles every month, so it's hard to tell what's going on out there right now. But I always think about it's my favorite market. It's our second home. It's it's one of my favorite places to go, and I always think about wanting to do more there. So I guess I'm just waiting for the right time, whenever that may be, maybe for LA Fights to give it another shot. But I'm not sure we're there yet, but I hope we get there.
I'm rooting for you guys too. I was a big fan of LA Fights and everything, that the idea about it and everything it kind of represented during its short run. Kind of as we were saying, and we kind of have a rival in the chat, and Isaac, the old VXS. I really much loved what they were doing too. And as you said with LA, those companies that have like PWG out there, I think LA Fights would be a fun idea right now, as you said, and hopefully it does work out for us fans of it in the future.
Yeah, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
So then I asked fans, what do you think makes GCW so good right now? Everybody's noticing the upswing. They said match variety, a higher frequency of quality death matches, and an influx of new talent. How do you feel about any of those statements?
I think all of that sounds about right. And, it's, I feel like, it's a tough position, we I feel like we were in a tough position 6 months to a year ago where, we have all these, we have this super talented roster and all these fan favorites and a lot of people who have been here and have done so much for the company for so long, but also at the same time, they've been so popular for so long and been here for so long that it's been the same people over and over for so long. So it's like, it's great that you have all this talent and all these great, personalities and characters, but also, if you're not mixing it up, then, then things can get stagnant, and you don't ever want to see anybody, fans get it's a tough situation because you don't want to have to phase good wrestlers out or people who have done so much for the company, but also if you don't, then things are going to go south, and it feels like fortunately well, fortunately or unfortunately, there's been a number of factors that have led to kind of a slight turnover on the roster and the ability and the opportunity to see new faces. And yeah, it's exciting. It is exciting. You don't like seeing people go, but you do it is exciting to see new people come in. So, there's been kind of a perfect storm again, of the people who have been coming in, new personalities, new faces, where they all seem to have fit in well. There's good chemistry in the locker room right now. There is, again, a lot of hunger in a lot of ways. It feels a little bit like the same attitude as the Howell days, where there's a lot of people here now who feel like there is an opening and there is an opportunity for them to seize, and it's causing people to, it's motivating people to go that extra mile. And that's what I think we're seeing right now. And, there's doors opening and you're starting to see, it's like, when, if you do go a while without having a big turnover in the roster, you start to see a lot of potential talent start to line up, or I'm trying to think of what the right word is for you. You end up with, the chance to make a number of changes, all at once, but in a creative way where it keeps people guessing and keeps them on their toes. And I think that we're kind of hitting a good little, good little wave of that right now, where it's, one into the next, and everybody seems to be fitting in well. Also, and I think there's more to come.
That WWE ID program, I think, is fanning the flames, and seeing some of the GCW regulars going to there or ROH, I think has really, put a little oomph under the butts a little bit for those wrestlers too.
Well, of course, you see guys like Jordan Oliver getting this opportunity right now, which is every bit and is as earned as any other wrestler getting an opportunity right now. Jordan has any ounce of success that he experiences from here on in, he has earned it, and he deserves it. And I will always be one of the biggest Jordan Oliver fans. But yes, people see that, and Jordan's as the many folks that came before Jordan. These guys are all, when they go in there, maybe they're not advertised as a GCW wrestler, but people know where they came from. And these are guys that are laying a foundation and building these bricks and building these bridges, where it gives everybody hope, and it reminds them, that you can come from anywhere at any time, so again, it does keep guys motivated and keep them working hard to know, like, they see their peers getting opportunities, and it can come for anybody at any time. So that's one thing about wrestling, is you never know who's watching on any given day. So you got to always kind of give your best. There's, you have to assume that, everybody that's watching your match is seeing you for the first time, because, you take a day off, you never know. Somebody could be, somebody important, quote unquote, could be watching. If they catch you on an off day, it's that first impression, maybe a bad first impression. So, I think once people realize, that there's, that if it happens to this guy, it could happen to them. I think it's good. It's a positive thing for everybody.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. We always try to say someone's always watching. If it's on tape, someone can see it. You never know.
Of course. I mean, the amount of people, in the high levels of the wrestling business that have Triller TV Plus accounts it's a high number, and I know this because a lot of them come through me. I connect a lot of them, so I know the people who are either watching or have the ability to watch it literally anytime, sitting on airplanes or, sitting backstage at events, or whatever. There's wrestling people's job is to do wrestling and to watch wrestling. So there is always somebody watching.
Now, I want to ask about Juggalo Championship Wrestling. We've had quite a few people in chat talking about it. How was the gathering?
Well, the gathering was crazy. It's absolutely everything that you ever heard about it is all of that stuff. It was fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun being there. I don't know that I would ever go back as I don't know that I would ever go at this point in my life as a, just as an attendee. I would never I don't think I could ever have it in me to go and, set up a tent and camp like that, but it sure is fun to walk through and see it all and, talk to the people and interact in any number of ways with them. And, these are definitely people, a lot of people like to make fun of them or in character. I love to make fun of them, but, you hear people, in quote unquote, real life, shitting on them or talking down on these guys. But let me tell you, like, the people that are attending the gathering are absolutely living their best life and they're having the time of their life. And, you think you're laughing at them, guess what? The joke's on you, because they are having the time of their life and they love being there and they're happy. So, it's fun to be around that, so, I absolutely had a blast. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It was all fun to be around. I would love to go again in a capacity where I am where I have business. So it was cool. It was an absolute unique experience. I like to think, I don't consider myself to be old, but I've been around and I've been a lot of places and done a lot of things, and that was absolutely a unique experience for me at this point in my life.
We had a fan just ask real quick, did you sip the Faygo? You need to be truthful.
Well, I don't drink soda, so I did not sip the Faygo, but I don't have anything against Faygo. But I don't drink soda. So no, I did not.
Did you put the face paint on?
I did not put the face paint on. How could I? How could I do that? I'm on the opposing team, but
True.
Maybe
Did you
someday.
attend any of the concert acts during the gathering?
Oh yeah. Any concerts?
What's that?
Did you go attend any of the concerts during the gathering?
So a little bit, not as much as I would have liked, because a lot of the big acts that I wanted to see, they took place. Excuse me. They took place, right before the wrestling, when I was getting prepared for the wrestling shows, so I couldn't go over and watch them at the stage. I didn't get a chance to do that. I caught a few minutes of, Tech 9, and I caught a few minutes of Ouija Mac, which was really cool. And I caught a few minutes of ICP, of course. But I didn't get to fully get into it like I would have wanted to. But maybe next year, maybe next year I'll get that opportunity. But it's just so cool. It really is. Have either of you guys ever been to a gathering?
No, I lived in Cleveland. That's close enough for me.
Yeah, that's almost in the zone.
Yeah, that's in the blast zone.
Yeah, it's I mean it's really amazing what they've what they've done and what they've built over all these years. Again, people love to shit on ICP, but I mean they are. I think at this point it's fair to call them like an iconic American entertainment act. Like forget you don't even have to say, you don't even have to like their music or even listen to it, just to acknowledge what they've done and in the face of really truly against the odds. I mean, they were actually hated, by the mainstream and record labels and other artists, so the fact that they're still here and doing it and successful, I heard, I mean, I know that that their tour dates right now, I mean, they sell out regularly. Their business is big. They're having a whole second wave on their career, and I know it's a lot of that is TikTok inspired and a whole new fan base and a new generation of fans. But they're still here doing it. I heard that the gathering this year, that the attendance at the gathering this year was up dramatically from last year. So, here they are 25 years into the gathering itself, and their business appears to be growing again. So there's something to be said for that.
Now, when you attended these shows real fast, where were you watching them? Were you like on the stage, like off to the side? Were you in the back of the crowd? Okay.
No, I was so for the ones that I got to watch for a few minutes, I was side of the stage, or back of the stage. There's kind of like it depends which artist is on there. Some of the artists, like the outside artists, the bigger ones, they'll bring in their own like security people where they don't want, anybody going past this line. You know what I mean? And then there's other stuff like, ICP and any of the ICP related acts. I mean, if you're like, if you have the all access pass, you can get as close as you want, really. I could, and it's cool to do that. You can literally, you stand just stage left of where ICP is performing. You can just, you see it from their perspective, which is amazing. They're standing in the front of a festival stage and you can kind of feel that energy, and it's so cool. It really is. It's crazy, you think about like, damn, these guys do this like all the time. It's so cool.
And you got to see the Juggalo Championship Wrestling machine behind the scenes. 25 years is a lot of time to practice and get things right. Was there anything they did that you would like to consider incorporating into the GCW model?
Well,
or are you set in your ways?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of I mean, yeah, of course I can watch like what they do and like, see things and be like, oh, that's cool. And there's a lot of what they do that's cool. The thing I love about Juggalo Championship Wrestling, JCW, is that, it is so different. It's so different from GCW. It's so different from everything else in the wrestling world. And that's their greatest strength. There's all these characters and, this the way they present it. And there's no shortage of wrestling. There's no shortage of wrestling. So, it's very hard to stand out, for good wrestling. The easiest way to stand out is by being unique, and that's one thing that they are. So, I admire that about them. And I when I talk to Violent J all the time, I always remind him like your greatest strength is in being you, and you guys being what you are. So, I think that I think it's fun. I think their shows are fun and they're easy. They are an easy watch. They're different. They're completely different than us. And they're not Smart Mark. It's not a Smart Mark product. So, and that's again, and that's something that's I think is a strength. Like you don't have to have watched for years to just turn on an episode of JCW Lunacy on YouTube and watch it. You can tune in at any time, and it's simple and easy to watch. You don't need to know all the years of backstory on everybody.
I'm jealous of their home venue. The black walls and everything would fit GCW so well.
Which one?
The one in Detroit, all black walls, all black everything.
Oh, well, they have a few, but yeah, I think you're talking about maybe the Majestic Theater.
Yes. Yeah, that one would fit so well for GCW. It just
looks
I thought
like about
a GCW.
Yeah. See, the one advantage they have, it's easy for them to run it. So many of the venues they do, because they can run their shows on weekdays and get crowds. It makes it easy to get availability on venues and run them whenever you want. If you're willing to do a show on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Monday, a lot of venues are wide open. Like I want to do a show at the Majestic Ballroom in Detroit, but there's no dates open for 6, 7, 8 months. So
yeah. How long did it take Jay to talk you into being an on-screen character for a while?
It did take a little while, and I told him from the start, I don't do this, and I don't want to do this. And then he convinces me to be in one backstage vignette, and then do this. And I still don't love doing it, but because it's with him and with around ICP, and it's just literally it's very surreal for me, because at one time I was huge fans, I still am, but I mean at one time it was an ongoing thing in my life, I remember going to ICP concerts as a teenager and thinking it was the coolest shit in the world. So now all these years later, it's crazy that Violent J, messages me all day about wrestling and calls me and asks me, to be a character against him in this, our little wrestling world. And it's how can I actually say no to that? It's just, it's cool to, it's funny, I did a promo at a JCW show in Reading, Pennsylvania, and I just did, the generic heel promo where I shit on everything they stood for. And it's just it's as I was saying each thing about them, I wanted to be I don't really mean it. I'm just saying this as, as this character, because, it's I loved, I grew up around that stuff, and it was so cool.
Okay, so here's the thing. You looked like you were enjoying yourself lighting up the crowd. That's why I had to ask, and fans even asked, did he enjoy himself? We even had someone ask, would you like to start refereeing again? I think we have that answer already.
Yeah, I will I will never seek to referee again. But I did, by the time we got to the gathering, yes, I enjoyed talking shit at the gathering, and I enjoyed, as crazy as it sounded, I loved it when they were throwing the bottles. I was trying to find one I could catch and throw back, but it's a real game of fucking duck and dive and all that. And I mean, I took so many to the head and the back.
You took one straight to the chest that was strong as shit, and you stared at the person. Somebody got you good for a minute there.
Oh yeah, one guy I was face to face with him, and he was holding the can up, or it was a can of beer. It was a big can of Miller Lite or something, and he was holding up, faking it, he was making the gesture oh, I'm gonna throw it at you. And I was do it, pussy. And then he just reared back and literally threw it right at me and hit me right in my face. Or not right, but you know what I mean? Right, point blank range. And I was damn, this guy really did it. I couldn't even get mad because I told him to do it. You
should have got advice from Joey, seeing what he went through in LA that one time.
Yeah. I mean, but it was fun, it was fun, but you know, I don't want to make a habit of it, but it was cool to do it at the gathering. And
Hey,
yeah.
do you have any questions, bud? I know I've been kind of running over a lot of stuff here. Do you have anything between the fans of yourself there?
Yeah, I got one question for myself, then I'll get to a couple of the fan ones. We saw a mention of the A24 Deathmatch coming up here. Do you have any comments, further comments on that?
Well, I mean, yes, sure. I mean, you've seen what's reported. You know, they're filming the next round of filming is happening in Mexico.
Yep.
On September 20th, same day as GCW in LA, actually. They'll be filming. I mean, there'll be a show that day in Pachuca, Mexico, and yeah, they're filming an exploding barbed wire, this, and this death match, including, you know, Raka or whatever you want to call him in the match. The same brother who wrestled Jimmy Lloyd in Detroit. So, you know, this is all part of, you know, the storyline of the documentary, for lack of a better term, the storyline, you know, the point of the documentary, you know, in which everybody will kind of, you know, everybody will see when they see it, but, you know, this is kind of the culmination of the documentary. So, you know, I know a lot of people, and myself included, you know, I've heard about, oh, there's this and this person's making a documentary, or that person is, or, oh, this is going to be, they're filming a thing for Showtime or Netflix. You know, I've heard it a million times, and, you know, so many of these, they never come to fruition, or nothing ever comes of it. But I can tell you 100%, this is real. It is coming to fruition. I've seen pieces of it. I've been, you know, they give me updates along the way. Like, they have been editing it as it goes. Like, it is almost done. You know, they're not done filming, but what they have filmed, they have been putting it together along the way, and they have, I mean, the stuff that you're going to see in this documentary, this is not like, you know, again, these are professional filmmakers. This is not like anything you've seen before. I mean, they're going out there, they're telling a real story here, and I you know, I don't want to give any I don't want to speak, you know, too much out of line, but I can tell you that, you know, the people who are featured in this documentary, I mean, they are taking you into their life in ways, you know, that you've you know, never seen. And you know, when you see, I don't want to give spoilers, but I mean, when you see the people who I'm talking about, especially if you're a GCW fan, you know, it's just, this is not about GCW, but if you're a GCW fan, this is going to be extremely interesting to you. And you're going to see stories about people that, you know, that you've never heard before. And, you know, we think we know everything about these guys, but what you're going to see in this documentary is stuff that, you know, nobody's ever, you know, ventured. It's worlds that we've never ventured into before. So I'm really excited for the people involved. Of course, I'm excited that GCW has, you know, our small role in it, because, you know, of course, we're a significant portion of deathmatch history at this point. But I am excited for the people who are involved, and I think what happens in Mexico is, you know, I think we're getting to the end of the road here on this documentary. So, you know, I know people keep asking, oh, whatever happened to it, or whatever this. I mean, the literal answer is what happened, and the reason why it's not done yet is because they've literally made 2 Hollywood movies during the span of filming this documentary. This documentary, even though it's an A24 project, this is mostly a passion project. It's a documentary. You know, this is not a big budget production. Documentaries don't make money. You know, it's you know, this is a project that they're doing, you know, that they've been doing on the side, you know, in between, you know, making movies that are grossing hundreds of millions of dollars. They're also working on this documentary about deathmatch wrestling. So, it's definitely going to be different than anything we've seen before.
Wow, that was a great update because I didn't know any of that was still kind of going on. I haven't heard of it, as you said, in a couple months. So thank you for that update. That was way more than I expected from that question.
No, and people have seen them around. I mean, and it's not just what they're like the stories that are being covered in it, but also like they filmed death matches using cameras that have never been used in indie wrestling. You know, like I've seen the footage from Japan when they filmed stuff at the first GCW show at Cork and Hall, and like I saw the footage that they shot of Rena versus Masha, and it was, I mean, it looks like you're watching like Braveheart, you know, like in HD, like the cameras they used and the way they shot it. It's just incredible. It's something that nobody will have ever seen before.
John, I'm inviting myself. We're watching on your big screen there when it comes out.
Yeah, man. Bring it over. Let's go. Ash said the red cameras, the REDs.
Nice.
Now, I'm sorry, B.
Nope,
I didn't want to go.
I got one more fan question, and then we'll go back to your questions here. Sorry. Arrival asks, how is it like running a show at American Dream? Anything different from running any other venue?
Yeah, there's some things that are different. Not everybody and not every venue, wrestling is unique, in a lot of ways. Like, not everybody knows how wrestling works. So, you go to a place like the American Dream, it's a public shopping mall, so it's like, the people who run the mall, they're not wrestling people, they don't always know what goes into us putting a show together and like what our needs are. And like, even stuff like, a locker room and stuff, you say a locker room for, to just the, the marketing team at the mall, they don't know what the hell you're talking about, like, oh, what do you need that for? So, in some cases like this, in some venues, it's not just exclusive to American Dream. It can be anywhere, that's non-traditional, sometimes you have to literally walk people through your event from, point A to Z, sometimes that can be challenging, but the mall, it's also so cool. American Dream is awesome.
So, actually, I'm looking through here real quick because someone had a quick American Dream question. I wanted to ask it before we went on to Homecoming. Is that going to be in the same spot for American Dream 2, or is that going to be in the hockey rink area?
So I will know an answer to that within days. It's possible that we're going to be doing it over by the hockey rink. There's a couple events that are going to be going on that week and weekend in American Dream, and I think that they're finalizing the details on that stuff, as we speak, and that is going to determine exactly where we're going to be in the mall. So, that's TBA ASAP soon. So yeah, as soon as I know, everybody will know.
Righty. Homecoming. You had the terminal looking great. Do you feel comfortable there? Like finally you feel like you're settled in?
Well, yes, I do, but yes, I do, but again, just things change so often there at the showboat and the terminal that it's the second you start feeling comfortable, it's the second where you're gonna get uncomfortable real quick. So, I just try to, now when we go to the showboat and do stuff there, I just try to take it one weekend at a time and, make the best out of each one and see what the future brings.
So you're keeping your ear to the ground primarily around the AC area just to see how things are. Venue-wise,
of course.
Venue-wise,
but it's just yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, you had the banners, lighting, pipe, and drape, man. It just looked good, and I just wanted to mention that real quick before.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, of course, I mean, that place could very easily look very dull if we didn't do all that stuff. So,
it was a little hollow the first show or two. You know what I mean? Before we figured out banners and everything else, it was very white.
Yeah, it was. I agree. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're figuring it out.
It's a vast improvement from a year ago for sure. Night one, you came out swinging. First appearance by Scarlett, returns by Gage, Murdoch, Killer Cross, Jimmy Lloyd, and AJ Gray. Will we be seeing any more of those down the road, or were most of theirs one shots?
Well, I would say for right now, they're all one shots, but at the same time, when you ask, will we be seeing more of these down the road? I mean, if I was a betting man, I would say yes. I wouldn't be able to tell you when now, but I think in the same way, I think it's a when the time is right, it'll happen again.
Right. And then we had a fan ask, how long did it take for you and AJ to get on the same page and back at it?
2 seconds.
Yeah. He was wanting to work.
I know that again, and I don't necessarily blame them, but sometimes fans have wild imaginations, or all it takes is one person to spread one rumor or make up one story, and suddenly this stuff takes a life of its own.
Yeah.
So but no, listen, like we're like grown-ups, and I'm not nobody's. Hold on one second, guys.
No, that's fine. Busy man.
Andrew, we literally just got done talking about it. If you want to rewind the stream for about last 10 minutes, Brett gave a very in-depth answer regarding that kind of event and kind of the documentary going on surrounding that event.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the things he has to say here on Bear Bronson and Tremont too. Those guys are just killing it right now.
Aaron, I am drinking Sprite from my Fuego cup. I'm hoping this will help bring the spirits of Fuego back to KJ Orso senses. Oh, no problem, Andrew. Thank you for checking us out, man. Yeah, a lot of you guys have questions. So too, I do have a lot to say. I have 37 comments or questions starred. I guess I could do some of these while Brett's gone here. This would be a cool idea. Don't be surprised if the Juggalos end up invading the seats at the Showboat for Fight Club Night 1. That would be fun.
Love it.
To lead up into War Games for sure. There's a question there. Beastman missing that. I saw that way earlier in the chat, TJ. Beastman has been found. Hopefully, maybe Mance Warner will drag him into the arena.
I'm back.
Okay.
All righty, Brett's back here.
Something fell in our house. Something like,
oh no,
something fell, and we didn't know what it was. So I had to put it on mute and do a little investigating for a second.
Watch out.
Were you thinking it's one of the kids?
Mason or Atticus?
No, I didn't think it was one of the kids, but I didn't know what it was. So
it's the ghost. Happens all the time.
Yeah, it just felt like something tipped over or something.
Bear Bronson and Tremont being a contender for the death match or match of the year. Were there any spots you had to say no to, or did you just give them the reins and say, don't kill yourselves?
With a guy like Matt Tremont, I say very little. It's more like, I ask him what are you thinking, or what do you need, or what do you want to do? And, I usually let him lead the way, and then I'll, give my 2 cents. And, of course, I mean, Matt's a professional and Bear Bronson's a professional. I mean, they know, of course they're going to ask, is this okay or it's not okay? But, I know that I don't have to babysit, a Matt Tremont match. He'll come to me and he'll know exactly what he needs to ask. And, I know that I can trust him, and I don't need to again, it's, he's the type of guy where you can just give him the ball and let him handle it.
A lot of fans were asking for Bear Tremont 2 down the road. Is there any plans at all?
Is there any plans? Well, right this minute, there's nothing scheduled, but I mean, of course, you would think that that's probably in the cards.
Yes.
It feels like, the first match, was such a classic, and it ended it with a very emotional moment between the two of them. But it does feel like there's more business to be settled there. But it seems like the first run of business is they're going to be in a ring together again soon, but as tag partners as opposed to enemies. But yeah, I mean, I would think, of course, at some point they're going to cross paths on the opposite sides of the ring again.
Regarding the deathmatch world, since we're into that subject right now, creativity keeps things fresh. Would you encourage GCW fans to donate weapons to their local show?
Of course. Yeah, of course. Their local show and their local GCW show. You just got to be like realistic, like, you see people sometimes they get carried away. They'll build shit that's, it's like, all right, you really expect somebody to like use this? Like, what do you think's going to happen if like somebody gets slammed on this or somebody swings this at somebody? Like you have to be realistic, like they're deathmatch wrestlers, but they're not trying to die, So, I think fans just have to be, yes, it's great to be creative, but it's just be realistic, and it doesn't hurt to reach out and say like, hey, I'm thinking of bringing this or making this. Would you guys have a use for it? Because the other thing that you hate to see, and of course I've had this happen many times over the years, is you hate to have people bring a truckload of stuff and it doesn't all get used, and then people get upset. Like, oh, I brought this and it never made its way into the match. And I mean, usually people understand, but sometimes people get bummed out by that, and it's like we don't always need a million different things. Sometimes we need the things we need, if that makes sense.
Yes. So then, who would be the contact? Because I know it's not contact Brett Lauderdale, but is there someone fans can contact, as you're saying, to maybe make sure that what they're bringing is necessary?
I mean, Chad is always a good one to talk to.
Chad Mins. All right.
Even if it's not a showboat show, if somebody wants to know, like, oh, can I bring this or this for, St. Louis or whatever. I mean, Chad's a good one because, Chad can always ask me. Chad gets through to me pretty quick, so, and Chad's really good at staying on top of people's messages and replying to people. So, Chad's always a good starting point.
Well, I'm going to ask because we have Homecoming in LA showing up. Does this weapon situation also apply to LA? It's pretty violent.
Well,
here.
It can apply to LA, but the rules haven't changed as far as the UCC goes. I mean, we will not be using light tubes there. Okay. And we won't be setting anything on fire, but
okay.
Certainly, if anybody wants to bring a pane of glass or two, or if anybody has any other creative ideas, certainly reach out, or you can bring stuff, Dr. Redacted usually likes unique things. So, talk to him maybe. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask the wrestlers in the match.
Smart. Real smart. I was asking because Atlantic City set such a high bar for the Homecoming name that I was just curious about weapons. And then we had some fans asking, can we expect a couple surprises maybe?
For Fight Club weekend?
For LA Homecoming weekend.
Oh, LA Homecoming weekend. Yeah, it's definitely possible. There's a few things, cooking or possibly cooking. One challenge that has emerged is that it is it's both an AEW and a WWE pay-per-view day. So some of the people who would otherwise have likely made an appearance will just simply can't, unfortunately. There's a few people that I talked to who had either agreed to show up and be a part of it, or who were in the process of trying to make it work until it was no longer going to work. So, we'll see. I'm always like trying to make stuff happen, and a lot of the times shit happens in the last like 48 hours, stuff comes together. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the show itself, I think that by the time this whole lineup gets announced, I think it's going to be one of the stronger show lineups on paper that we've had in a long time in LA. So I think that in and of itself is exciting. And, it's been a while. It's actually been a while since we've been there. So it'll be cool.
Ishmael Carmichael, one of our fans, just asked, what's the main event for GCW Homecoming LA?
I don't know yet.
Ooh, I like that answer. Fans love that answer.
I don't know yet, but also remember, sometimes we structure the LA shows a little differently. I think we've talked about that on this very program before. I kind of look at it like there's usually two main events for every LA show. There's a main event for the East Coast audience, and there's a main event for the West Coast audience, So, sometimes, the main event is not always the last match, but the main event is always the last match too. So, that's why I say I look at LA shows as having multiple main events.
You kind of touched on this for a minute. I just want you to know that Matt Tremont's run that you've done with him at GCW has been fantastic. He's been given the king treatment by the fans everywhere he's went.
Yeah, Matt is like a true like he's a professional. He's a gets it guy. He always understands the assignment. He's versatile. He can play any role, whether it's a guy doing the most brutal and gruesome of death matches like his ones with Bear Bronson, or playing a role in a comedy match, or wrestling somebody like an Effie, or a technical wrestler, any style he can adapt and not only do it, but he can do it very well. So, Matt's had such a really he's had an incredible career, and he's a guy who's I feel like he's gotten better with age, as he gets more, he just I think he's had so many phases of his career too, where I think he really enjoys what he's doing right now, and he's trying to have fun and kind of take it. I think he's in a have fun stage of his career, and when people are having fun, they perform at their best. So I think that's what we're seeing right now with Matt. He doesn't have to worry about running his own promotion anymore. He doesn't have to worry about running his school anymore. He can just worry about being Matt Tremont, the wrestler. And I think that's part of what has made him, so good right now, is that all he has to do is worry about being a wrestler, and that's easy for him. So, he's so good.
He's his smile and his enjoyment are coming across on TV too. You can just see he's really loosened up a lot. And that, I think, like you said, makes for a better performance.
Definitely. And I've known Matt since, well, I don't want to say necessarily that I've known Matt since the start of his career, because, come to find out, he's been wrestling a lot longer than any of us even know. But, I've known Matt since he first came to prominence. And, we've had phases where we work together all the time, and then where we go a year or two without working together. And it's just, none of that's been for any reason, good or bad. It's just been the ebbs and flows of where we were all at in our careers, and where he was at with H2O, and, his commitments and our commitments. But we have like this, I think me and Matt have like this understanding where it's like, we're like, me and him can just look at each other and kind of communicate, and know like, what needs to be said. We don't even have to say it sometimes, like we have that understanding, of, what I think of him as a performer, what I expect of him, and in the most respectful way. And I think that, that makes, that's just another contributing factor into why he's been so successful this time around, is that, he knows that I know that that he knows what he's doing, and he can perform with confidence, knowing that I have his back, and and that I that I want to see him having fun and doing what he's doing right now. So it's been cool.
Mute button. First time tonight, John. Yes, it wasn't me.
Oh, okay. Well, I was muted. Sorry there. I'm going to just jump into something. Lash LaRue is a great example of some wild booking choices that worked out amazing. George South, Action Mike Jackson. How do you come across some of these wild picks? Do you seek them out, or are they seeking you out?
It's a combination of both. Okay. George South, Action Mike Jackson, those are guys that I go to, like George South is like incredible. I mean, he's truly incredible. And I wish I could do more with George South. Mike Jackson's like another one. It's like, like truly unbelievable that Mike Jackson can do what he does at his age, like just in a literal physical sense. The fact that he can do those things is near miraculous. So, having guys like him around, and George South, like having them in the locker room is like, it's like invaluable. It's like, you can't put a price tag on that. Just having them and their like experience around, like, and just like, just, their, just interacting with them gives people like, a different perspective, and, you can learn from them, just in that alone, and by watching them. And, you're talking about guys who have wrestled for 30, 40, 50 years. So, just in the way they prepare for their matches and the way that they conduct themselves, like you can learn from that. And just, again, just interacting and just wisdom, and, it's like, or, even the sense of humor, just, these guys they've been around everybody, and, they have so many stories to tell, and they're just fun to be around, like even like another one of my favorites, Ricky Morton, who will be coming back soon, by the way. He's a guy, it's like, Ricky Morton's one of the coolest people I know on earth. He's somebody who's fully embraced his role, and fully embraced, his role, not just in the locker room, but, and his in wrestling history and his generation, and knowing, fully embracing the idea of passing the torch, which is what Ricky Morton has done countless times, and supporting the current gen. He is not one of those. He's not a Jim Cornette type, where, back in my day, and, fuck this and fuck that, and this wrestling sucks. I mean, he is all about the today's generation and supporting them, and he's just such a positive influence. I always tell Ricky Morton that I wish I could have him at every show, but I'm happy to report he'll be back soon.
You were mentioning Jim Cornette there for a minute. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to really say anything about that, especially since, Ricky does work his butt off at GCW to kind of get all the kids over, so to speak. And I know that, Jim is kind of rough on the style, but as a business person 10 years in, I mean, you've kind of got your ways of doing things, and you have a strong fan base. Do you just want maybe Jim to be a little easy on you critique wise?
Oh, I don't care. I love it. Jim Cornette in Jim Cornette and shitting on GCW has done us more favors than he could ever imagine. I mean, he's made us, inadvertently or maybe even purposely. I mean, he has made us cool to a lot of people. He may think that he's shitting on us, but he's just making us. He's making us look like outlaws, and I know he thinks that's a diss, but to a lot of people, that's like a badge of honor. So, and I love it when he talks about us. I mean, Jim Cornette cannot hurt my feelings. Like there's nothing Jim Cornette can say to me or about me that's going to hurt my feelings. Our company, we're not here to impress Jim Cornette. So if he doesn't like us, I don't care. He's not my fan base. He's not my demographic, and he's not spending money on my company. So I don't care if he likes us or not. But the fact that he knows who we are and he talks about us from time to time, and that he cares enough or pays enough attention about what we do that it can get him upset. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? That we can rile this old motherfucker up,
I'm a regular listener, and I really do actually enjoy his takes on things. You're going to hate me, Brett. Actually, a lot of what he does, I try to incorporate and talk about, because I feel like some of what he brings in is invaluable. And I feel that some of the good that he brings out there might die with him down the road. And I feel like some of that needs to be preserved for the long haul. But
I think he's smart, and I think he knows what he's talking about to agree. I think he's a little outdated, but I think he's very entertaining to listen to, non GCW stuff, all the stories that he's told. I have his books, they were so interesting. He is an encyclopedia, and he was there and around, intimately involved in some of the coolest shit that ever happened in the wrestling business. So it's definitely fun to hear him talk about it. He's one man, so it's like, no matter what he's talking about, he's not the gospel on anything, he's just giving his view, his opinion, and you have to just take it for what it is, good, bad, whatever, it's not a Jim Cornette. That's anybody thing, Yes. Nobody, these are just opinions that, these old wrestling people are giving, Jim Cornette, Bubba Ray Dudley, Stevie Richards, whatever, who cares? You can listen to them and consider their opinion, but anybody who's making decisions on what they like or don't like based on just because of what Jim Cornette says. I mean, that says more about that person than about the product, or, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just a guy. He's one guy,
Yeah. I've always liked criticism because I have a small business also. I like criticism because it can tell me where things can be wrong, if I choose to accept that information is true. So, I've seen many wrestlers before that, they can be a little rough about taking criticism, but the most successful wrestlers are generally ones that take that, weigh it, and then they incorporate it and become better, or, they leave that message away from others.
Well, I think, there's a fine line in criticism, and, it can be in the way it's delivered. There's a tone to everything. One thing that I see a lot in, at least in our world, our indie wrestling world, and because of the intimacy of the fandom in indie wrestling, and, how close the wrestlers and the promoters and the fans, can all be, that, a lot of times, you'll see criticism or feedback, but people take it, you see a lot of people who take it personally, you know what I mean? Or people who equate, you see some fans, and this is not all fans, you see some fans who, equate people's worth as humans. They tie it to their ability as wrestlers,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like, you know, all right, this guy may have had a match you didn't like, but that doesn't mean this isn't like a good person, or like, you know what I mean? Like, people get angry about it and make personal attacks, you know, based on people's theatrical performances, which is what's going on at the end of the day. You know, or even like I see people like, you know, to make it personal, you know, or my personal connection, you know, I see people like, you know, they make determinations on who I am as a person based on who I book to be the champion, or who's, you know what I mean? It's like, listen, it's like, you know, I'm like a executive producer for like a Hollywood movie, you know, or like, it's like, if you don't like that movie, you don't automatically assume like the director of the movie is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? It's just, you just didn't like that movie, you know, or you didn't like that scene. But, you know, in our indie wrestling world, you know, I see like that's in it, and I feel like it is slightly, it's a little concerning, you know, like the way people do equate people's personal worth to how they perform as wrestlers, and it gets a little weird sometimes. And I think that's why it's like, you know, there's like that weird line over like, all right, criticism is good, but you know, delivery is another thing. And you know, a lot of guys, you know, it's tough to accept criticism from somebody who's telling you you're a piece of shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's why, you know, and it's not everybody's, you know, it's just like nobody likes that, you know, and I guess it's at that point it becomes a choice of whether you want to tell people to fuck off or whether you just want to take it, you know? So, but I think, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, we're all supposed to be on team wrestling here. So it's like, you know, none of this is so serious that we should be having real life fights over it, you know?
What else you gonna do on a Thursday in the middle of the day, you know? Uh, I wanted to give you some names. Fans wanted to share some names of some wrestlers. You don't have to give any opinion. I just want to pass them on to you as some wishes. Fans had mentioned Abaddon, Nikki Blackheart, Dmitry Alexandrov, Layla Hirsch, Kaya McKenna, a ton of cruel requests, Emily J, and Ludar. I just wanted to pass those on. You don't even have to make a mention. It's just, I said, hey, fans, if I had a chance to tell Brett, if you had any requests for talent, that's who came up. So I just wanted to let you know, take a note for later if you want to.
Well, I think Layla Hirsch is retired or retiring. Haven't there been reports out that she's going to be a referee for WWE?
Oh, that's right.
I thought I heard that, but that was a while ago. Yeah.
Perfect job for her. Perfect.
Yeah. So I think you take that one off the board, but
we'll take her off the board, and fans are asking for a lot of free yo-yos. A lot of yo-yos in the chat tonight.
You know, I was just thinking about Yo-Yo the other day because I used to see him all the time, and I haven't seen him in a minute. But I like Yo-Yo.
Someone just moved to the AC area. Will they be seeing Dr. Redacted in AC in October by any chance?
I think so. Who just moved to the AC area? Who would do that?
It was one of the fans. I take in the questions. I never keep the name, but sorry for that poor unfortunate soul. Hopefully Dr. Redacted is the silver lining.
Yeah.
Any match leaks for War Games? Or is that still
I just posted one. Did you see it?
Oh no. No. Now we're all looking. Who was it?
Danger and Drew Parker.
There you go.
Oh, you know what? That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's another good test for Mr. Danger. See where he's at. I know you guys love Mr. Danger. He's one of the guys who's very good at taking criticism and you know, applying it to his trade, right?
He's not the easiest with criticism, but that's because I think he's young and he's hungry, and he has a fire in his belly to prove something. And I felt like Danger has been GCW style for a while, especially with that hunger. And Yeah, I think that's where I lie on it, especially when I know Frankie was a little rough on him there for a minute, because he was mentioning fans have for a long time have kind of questioned him. That's part of what he uses to, grind his axe, which is excellent. But we've always said that the purpose of the show is for fans to come around, come together, give opinions, accept the opinions that you want
Take 'em
to,
or
and
leave 'em.
disregard them. But the point is that at the core, every single fan that participates in here wants to see the performer do better. And if we can say, hey, raise that foot a little higher or whatnot, I mean, why not?
I think everything you're saying is true. I also think, in the same way that we expect, a wrestler to just, accept every criticism with open arms and embrace it and, hear their work judged, which by the way is fair. It's fair for that. They're performers. And I think we also have to, be accepting of the fact that, it's okay for them to not love it, and not take that as a personal thing, if, I don't think that anybody should, I don't think either side should take it personal, put it like that. That's what I'm trying to say.
We always say that we hope that no one takes anything personal because we don't personally know anybody. We just talk about the work.
Yeah, and that's again, that just kind of goes back to what I was saying. It's like it's so easy for this stuff to turn personal for no reason, And
it could, and I'm protective. I actually ended up reaching out to Danger later and just said, "Hey, is everything okay? Sincerely apologize," kind of thing, because he was a little upset with Frankie, and yeah, I think everything's good.
Yeah, well, I can assure you that Mr. Danger is, he's on the right side of
yeah.
You know what I mean? He's any hostility that you may sense from him comes from a place of passion, So
yeah, that's what we got down to.
It's like our criticism is from passion and is best. The same thing from him. Yep. I think you said it well best. Like either way, don't take it. Both sides shouldn't be taking it as personal.
Yeah.
Like you said, I thought that was well said.
I think also, it's like Mr. Danger, aside from the fact that he has no social media savvy, which is okay. Mr. Danger is a guy who was literally thrown into the fire. Mr. Danger, there was no come up for Mr. Danger. He was 0 to 100. He went from the garage at WWA4 to GCW. So there was no introductory phase where, indie fans got to know him. It was crash course on all sides. So, he never really learned, he never got the slow burn of fans becoming familiar and, interacting with him or about him, he was thrown right to the highest level to be judged by the highest level, which is part of the deal. That's what happens. You want to play with the, you want to perform on the highest levels. It's you get all the good and bad that comes with it.
Well, so a lot of fans don't know that JCW, which was his first match with GCW, that was his 6th match ever. Outside of that time, he had never worked outside of more than 45 minutes outside of LA. Or I'm sorry, outside of Atlanta. So yeah, people really need to be easy on the guy because he is very, very, he's really still trying to figure everything out.
Listen, I can tell you too, Mr. Danger's trying to figure life out, you know?
Yeah.
So, he's literally out there grinding every day, literally every day, not just, and I'm not talking about in a wrestling ring. I'm talking about he's trying to figure life out. So, that's why I have such, I can have patience and grace for him because I know what he's going through. And, I know that, this guy is literally out here.
He's killing himself.
Not to get too personal, but I know this guy is dollar to dollar, every day. He's he has a job, but he is You know,
He's
he's
doing his
a
best, right?
paycheck to paycheck, dollar to dollar guy who is, you know, struggling just like so many other people in this country.
Truth.
And he's a guy and he's trying to balance all of that and chase his dream at the same time. So, you know, he's got a lot of pressure on him and pressure that he's putting on himself.
That's what I kind of got from it, you know? And to me, he's a kid, you know, he's 20 years younger than me. I just see him as a young guy just trying to work, just trying to make his money. So we'll see what happens. I do look forward to him and more because, I mean, geez, GCW's done what, 50, 60 some matches with him. He's done a total of 56 matches. So I would say between GCW and JCW, he's probably put almost 50 for you down. Unbelievable. Okay, Brett, I'm going to ask you here. Thoughts on an all-women's death match or an all-women's death match tournament?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can hear you now.
Go. Yeah.
That's a wild one.
Yeah. You know, people have asked this before, and I'm not sure that we were ever, you know, if you want to do it and do it well, you know, I'm not sure that the other times I was asked if we were necessarily there yet. But I would probably say we're closer now than we've ever been before, you know, to being able to field a worthy field for a women's deathmatch tournament. So you know, I don't know. It's really tough to tell because, you know, the women's wrestling. See, this is the thing. Like with GCW, we don't do women's wrestling. We don't do intergender wrestling. We just do wrestling matches. You know, I've seen women's wrestling promotions everywhere struggle dramatically. You know, to the you know, are there any right now in the United States?
When it comes, that's a rough one.
I know.
You know, or at least are there any prominent ones? You know, I want to say, you know, with all due respect, not since the days of Shimmer has there been a substantial, significant women's independent wrestling promotion with a, you know, a very strong following. You know, I've seen many women's wrestling shows, and I've seen many people try, and there's been some decent ones. You know, Thunder Rosa has the Mission Pro in Texas, but I'm not even sure they're still running shows right now. But, you know, I know they made a little noise for a little bit. And there's been others that have come and gone and, you know, all like, you know, very good, honest efforts. But the real question, you know, with women's wrestling is the market big enough to support a women's promotion, you know? And I'm not so sure that we've seen that proven yet. And this, this is not meant to be a positive or negative comment. It's just like my observation and analysis. I wonder, would a women's deathmatch tournament, would that do as well as a standard traditional deathmatch tournament? Like if you promoted a women's deathmatch tournament, would that make it less likely to be successful? Would it be more successful? You know, like how would that factor?
I almost wonder if that's one of those things to say GCW did it. Do it once, just see how it goes down, test it. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I mean, certainly I think, you know, if anybody could do it, you know, perhaps it would be us. But I just, you know, it's like, I hate to, you know, it's like, I hate to limit it, you know, like why is it only women, you know? Like, you know, how about a deathmatch tournament that just has a lot of women in it, which we've had before. So I don't know, but I get it. I know why people want to see it, and because you know there hasn't ever been a really good one. So it would be cool to see. And yes, I do think we're much closer now to at least it being possible than we have been in a long time.
Yeah, we've seen where the female availabilities over the years sometimes have not always been very, it's been kind of thin. You know what I mean? Like you'll go to an area and there's one lady, maybe two, and that's just who's available.
Right.
So then I want to ask this because we ask this every year. Fans always love to ask, Brett, your thoughts on a GCW Scramble Championship.
I mean, I've heard it suggested many times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's like a cool idea, but I feel like it's one of those things where it would be limiting, and we would like we would be putting ourselves into a corner at a certain point. And like, do we want to just have a title just for the sake of having a title? Like what exactly? I don't know. I guess I'm not sure that I see a need for it necessarily. And I also, the GCW scrambles aren't, it's not meant for the same guy to be in it every time,
Right.
Like
right.
they rotate.
It's the young hot shots. It's the young hot shots in the area.
It's like any number of things, but I don't have any wrestlers in particular on the roster that are scramble wrestlers. I have guys that are good at scrambles, but booking a division around it, or like limiting any wrestler to just being in scrambles seems counterproductive.
The only thing that I've seen was somewhat creative was if you win 3 scrambles in a row, you get a championship shot.
Okay, that takes a lot of scrambles to be in.
Well, I mean, you have to get 3 in a row. The only thing I'd see is you can hot shot, book a young kid like a Nick Wayne or something where you're trying to just get him off the ground. But assuming there's a lot of, I'm learning there's a lot of variables, and nothing's perfect. So it's really difficult to,
who should make a scramble championship is AEW. They should make a scramble championship.
Oh yeah. I mean, geez, just to push ROH would be a nice thing.
I mean, they have enough wrestlers and enough of that style where it could be good on every show.
I'm surprised Tony hasn't really picked up on that one more.
Well, we know he's a fan of having championships.
Well, let's go to something that maybe you can or cannot deal with, Brett. We have someone asking, could you please get sanctions lifted in New York so you can run Deathmatch there? Do you have any possibility of changing the rules or laws in the state of New York?
I mean, me personally, probably not. I mean, this has definitely crossed my mind. There's been times where I've been mad at the commission or pissed about something, and I said to myself, you know what? Next week, I'm going to call a lawyer and see what we can do. And then you realize, like, it just doesn't work like that. And it's just not going to happen. I don't know, the way that this stuff like comes and goes is like, like something has to happen or not happen, I don't know, like me, a wrestling promoter, telling a state to stop promoting or regulating wrestling is not the angle that's going to get through, in my opinion. That's not like the appeal that's going to work. So I don't know. It's just really hard to be a little guy going up against a state,
Right.
And
it's just better to just play by the rules.
Yeah. And the other thing is there's 50 states out there. So if New York doesn't want my deathmatch business, somebody else will.
Your plan is to hit all 50 states. Who do you have on your short list right now?
What, in states of like who's next, or what do you mean?
What I'm saying is I think you've got a couple new states coming up later this year, and just wondering who you have on that short list.
Are you asking me the states?
I was just wondering who you like. I think you're going to Vermont,
Vermont's coming up.
Possibly who's next that hasn't like on your list that hasn't been mentioned yet?
Well, I want to do the Dakotas next year. We haven't done that yet. I guess we're gonna have to do Minnesota now. If ever there was a time to do Minneapolis, I think it would be 2026. So I would think that one could be coming. I've been flirting with Delaware. What else has been on the old? Maybe we'll do maybe we'll do South Carolina next year. I have some leads there.
We actually had a fan just say Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay, Columbia or Spartanburg? Which one? Which one should we do?
Spartanburg's a little more country. Columbia, I think, is the capital.
Columbia.
I know Columbia is a college town and it's the capital. I've been there, but I think Spartanburg has the wrestling audience.
I think you'd probably be right there. It's a little more country out there. It probably would.
A little more redneck.
Little bit. Okay, so a couple of fans had some other ideas. What about Idaho on the list?
Yeah, I want to do Idaho. We almost did Idaho once. I was talking to a local promoter up there, but it just didn't happen. But yeah, of course, Idaho I want to do.
What about the next time you're coming to Kentucky?
We'll probably be in Kentucky sooner than later. We're probably going to go back to Louisville or Lexington. I'm forgetting, but I've been talking to my Kentucky people.
And what about Mississippi?
Yeah, Mississippi's on the list of it's one of the, what is it, 18 left, I think. So
yeah.
Mississippi's time is definitely coming. Yeah,
we had
I'm
a
just
lot
trying
of
to think.
questions on Florida also.
Florida, I don't like Florida. It's not a good wrestling state. It's not Florida's no, Florida's okay. We'll probably be back in Florida within the next 180 days or less. So even though I don't love the idea of Florida, we're still going to be there probably soon. I may even have a Florida update sometime in the next week.
Boom. There you go, guys. How about Massachusetts, Boston?
Massachusetts is going to be number 50.
Really? Is it that rough to get in?
No, it's not that rough, but I've thought about it, well, what would be number 50? I mean, I don't want it to be like South Dakota or something. I want it to be somewhere that's accessible for everybody, and I think Massachusetts is the last of the states with, wrestling followings in areas that have a lot of our fans, where if people wanted to come to it, it would be easily accessible. So right now I feel like we're saving Massachusetts for last at this point.
Any news on Denver, Colorado?
Nothing at the moment. I really like Denver, period. But we're now getting to the time of the year where places like Denver and Chicago and Salt Lake City are not good places to go.
It's cold. Philadelphia, PA. When's your next time rolling through there?
Hey, we were going to do one in October, but it didn't work out. So, I don't know. It'll be sometime. It's coming. I don't have a date, but it's coming.
I only have a couple more, Brett. I promise. Queens, New York.
Queens. I don't anticipate that we'll be back at the Melrose Ballroom anytime soon, but as far as Queens goes, I mean, yeah, it could go. Queens could go. There's nothing scheduled. I love Queens. I lived in Queens for several years. So, I like Queens.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Loved it. Really loved it. I need to make I need to get in touch with those folks because I would like to go back there.
That was a banging fucking place. Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville is cool. Nashville, we've had a lot of trouble figuring out venues in Nashville. It just has never come easy ever since our original venue got tornadoed out. It's not been easy to go back.
Gotcha. Someone had asked specifically the Wildwoods Convention Center.
Man,
That's
so who asked that?
Same thing. I couldn't tell you on that one.
So I tried to book Wildwoods Convention Center for this year. But Wildwood Convention Center is so busy that they're booked out on weekends like 2 years into the future.
Oh.
So there was literally nothing available for the entire summer. And there was, I want to say there's also nothing available for next summer. So they're just nonstop. As soon as it stops being winter, you just can't do anything there.
Ricky O was talking. He hates working winters up north because sometimes he says people don't always have as much money because sometimes the jobs are seasonal. I don't know. Kind of interesting.
I don't know. Is that true, Ricky? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
But
he was saying something about up north. He said some of the blue collar jobs shut down, like some construction and whatnot shuts down.
Yeah, that
during
is true.
winter.
Actually, that is true. I guess I never thought of it like that, but yeah, I guess that's true.
So the next one is the possibility.
Ricky's a genius.
It was one hell of an interview. NGI to Chicago. Any plans on that down the road?
Never.
Okay. Several fans from the Northwest want GCW to take another trip to Seattle and up to Defy. Seattle, Washington anytime soon?
Yes, it's already announced. It's been on our schedule. It was a soft announcement. It's on the it's on the most recent schedule graphic that went out, but we'll be back there on December the 5th.
There it is, December 5th. I just wanted to pass along something one of the fans who lived up in Alaska wanted to tell you. They just said it gets very foggy and visibility is nasty up there in October. So he just said drive safely if you get the chance.
Okay, well, I would like to know more from my Alaska people because I'm going up a day early to go hiking in Alaska. So if any of our people could tell me where to go in or around Anchorage to go hiking the first week of October, I would love to know from the locals. I mean, of course, I've done my research and my Googling, but I would love to hear it from a local.
All right. And I just wanted to mention this because we were talking about venues, Brett. Don't think you can't reach out publicly to fans because sometimes these local guys, I mean, they're watching local wrestling all the time. They may know a venue where you're where you're looking.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we've gotten
the Nile
venue connections from fans, wrestlers, everything in between. But I've definitely had a few suggestions passed from wrestlers over the year or from fans over the years.
I want to tell you that baseball stadium looked great on TV, man. Is there any plans to do that again?
I would like to do that again.
It just looks so damn good. Same place, or are you interested in any other places?
Maybe Yankee Stadium.
I knew that was coming.
Just kidding. Maybe Coney Island again.
Now fans do love public venues. Are there any any plans to maybe add other types of public venues to, bring in the casual fan?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's anything that's, I mean, American Dream would kind of be like that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Fans just love them, and it makes GCW look bigger since it's out in public a little. You know what I mean? It just looks so damn good. We had a fan say, "What about a parking lot brawl in the Philadelphia Eagles parking lot?" He
What
said it would
about
draw
a parking lot brawl
in the Philadelphia Eagles parking lot.
Oh man, well, sounds fun until the cops come and arrest everybody.
Yeah. Will GCW come back to Wrestlecade?
Are you guys there?
Yes, sir. I thought we lost you for a second.
I thought so too. Yeah, no, it would be no, that would be that would be interesting, but I feel like I think it would go off the rails pretty quick.
What about Wombat 3? We had some fans asking about that.
Yeah, Wombat is actually Wombat. We've been talking to Wombat officials lately, and the idea has definitely been broached. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there's no immediate plans, but I wouldn't be surprised if something pops up in the Wombat universe.
We had a fan that was asking, is there a possibility you could give us a match announcements for the House of Horrors, or is it too early?
I don't have a match yet, but I would say this week or next we'll have some.
Las Vegas Collective 2026. Will it be a Ticketmaster venue?
No.
Thank you so much, man.
Quickest
Our second question.
History.
Appreciate you, brother. We do.
Mm-hmm.
This next question was, could you please consider a Matt Tremont's Planet Death at the Collective in Las Vegas next year? They felt that Las Vegas would work in the right venue.
I'll consider it.
I was going to ask you, because we've had so many requests. It's nice that you're considering that, because I felt like Planet Death was almost a one-time or a two-time shot, and that was it.
It's just the right place, right time.
Gotcha. What about a deathmatch tournament outside of the usual places? That's literally the question, how it was stated.
What was it? What is it?
A deathmatch tournament outside of the usual places. Do you have plans of maybe taking a tournament to LA or somewhere else in the country?
It's been considered. It's been looked into.
Would you have to change venues to do that?
It's not going to. There will not be a deathmatch tournament at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. I can tell you that.
Okay. Yeah. I just had a feeling, had to ask. B, I just wondered, man, is there any other questions on your side there before I get into anything else? I feel like I've kind of boxed you out a couple of times tonight, and I'm so sorry.
Oh, get out of here. So sorry, Death Wish 2K says, hey Brett, many of us play the WWE 2K and run deathmatch shows inspired by GCW and other indies. How does it feel knowing GCW's influence pushes fans to build virtual feds? Shout out to Havoc Gaming.
Yeah, nice. It's incredible. It's amazing seeing GCW inspire or motivate fans to do anything. You know, it always amazes me. You know, when I see people, you know, when it just, you know, as simple as, you know, scrolling onto Twitter and seeing somebody created the terminal on WWE 2K. And it's like, oh my God, somebody is, you know, cares enough about GCW or likes it enough that they recreated one of our venues on a video game. It's like amazing, you know.
TJ right here from Havoc Pro, Brett. That's the one. I think you've met him a couple times. They're the ones that they really do put an incredible amount of work in, and they have a great time.
Yeah, I know the Havoc Pro gentlemen.
Okay, next question.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead, B. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Matt Brown has a suggestion. Next time you're in AC, check out Angeloni's Club Madrid. Just take a cab.
I've been there.
Okay.
I was there before it was Angeloni's Club Madrid. It just recently changed to Angeloni's Club Madrid. There's new ownership, but I used to go to Angeloni's too frequently. One of the old one of the old school Italian Atlantic City joints that they don't make them like that anymore.
Reed Harris Cooper asks, is there a reason why Cannonball Fest is not an official GCW show?
Well, because it's not. GCW is supporting it, and we're running it the day of the show, but I think it's important that I think it's important that it's a independent show, independent of an independent, it doesn't need to be a GCW show.
It will be on this YouTube channel, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of talent coming across from other companies also. So removing the names allows, Cannonball Fest to really be truly independently open, correct?
Yes, that too.
Okay. Yeah. The question here we had was another show in the UK by any chance? Tim Strange was also a name that was brought up over there as a performer. Are there any plans for London for GCW?
Yeah, September 28th, Bloodsport.
I was getting ready to ask you about that. Do you have any match announcements for Bloodsport?
No, but they're coming. Josh is working on it. I know that this Bloodsport is much different than some of the previous ones. Heavy emphasis on the local talent, UK talent. Oh man, Spike Dudley just went face first into a ladder on this match I'm watching.
What match is it?
Let's see what match it is. I think it's like something best of tag team TLC matches on the WWE Vault.
God, the Vault is so good.
It is. Somebody's in there is being turned loose.
Finally.
Need a raise.
Yeah. But no, this London show is very much a UK based event. So but as for the London in general, or if like a GCW proper show would come back, of course, definitely open to that and interested. It's all just a matter of timing, time, place. I think when the time is right, I think there's some other places in Europe that I would like to go first. So,
like where? You knew that was coming.
Paris, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then either Scotland or Ireland, probably, or both.
God, that'd be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you need an all of a sudden commentator to go to Ireland or Scotland, I may know a couple guys. Do you have any Mexico plans?
No. Well, yeah, September 20th.
Any plans of bringing GCW back to Europe? We already discussed that one. Are you looking at anywhere in Asia outside of Japan?
Yes, we've definitely discussed some possibilities. I actually probably should follow up. But there is wrestling popping up in other places. So I could see something happening maybe next year.
Any ideas? South Korea, Thailand, anywhere, or you're just
South Korea seems to have an emerging scene.
Nice. All right, then. What's the possibilities we could get you to head down to Uganda and Africa for some South Ground wrestling?
I think that probably that ship has sailed, but I would have loved to have gone to Uganda at one point.
As a promoter, did the Raja Jackson incident change your thoughts on bringing non-trained talent into the ring for a trained position?
No, that was just very poorly managed. I mean, that was definitely I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't there, but that was a total failure on multiple levels of, management and, that was just a bad situation. But that was so easily avoidable.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. A lot of factors, and
I can't believe the guy hasn't been arrested.
So that's the other thing. I'm wondering how he's still running around after he just beat on an unconscious body, and there's been no, at minimum, an arrest.
Yeah, I think it's because
his dad has money.
No, I don't think that matters, dude. I think it's more like the waters have probably been muddied enough where they probably don't know if they could convict him, so they're probably not even bothering wasting the time.
Oh yeah, because you have to work with the BS with the wrestling company and who's working and who's not, and if someone's guilty, they'll just say they're working.
Or even Raja Jackson could just say, "Oh well, I thought there was this and this," like even with all the Twitch shit,
Yeah.
I mean, people are basically, they're acting on that shit too.
Brent, before I go any further, because I don't have too many questions yet, I wanted to kind of toss it over to you there and see if there's anything else you have from the fans, or if you have any questions.
Yeah, we got a couple more questions from the fans. Mr. Lauderdale, what's your thoughts on Tony Khan and Court Bauer? Would you ever do business with them?
Well, it depends what you mean by do business. I don't think Tony Khan needs me for any business, but of course I'd be open to doing stuff with AEW. And for Court Bauer, I mean he's I don't know. Is there anything to really talk about? I don't know. We don't have any.
Yeah, nope. Not really.
There's nothing good that can come out of me talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That doesn't fit the show if we did.
Yeah. We have another one. We got the Juggalos this year. Will there be another GCW versus and this kind of goes along, and any other promotion you'd like to kind of collaborate to do a GCW versus blank weekend?
I wouldn't mind doing a little invasion on AEW. I'm mostly kidding there. No, I don't see I mean, it's one of those things you can't do it all the time, so I mean, I don't know. It's so weird right now. Like I probably wouldn't have done any if I didn't grow up as an ICP fan. So, that lent some of the that there definitely carried some weight in GCW doing this, and also to be fair, I didn't, when we first discussed this idea, it wasn't originally intended to go this far. It's gone this far because it's been interesting and fun, and people have been into at least most of it. So I don't know. I these invasions or versus type feuds between promotions. Yeah, they're cool, but it takes you need people to be kind of on the same page on what they expect out of it and what they want out of it, and it's hard to coordinate those things. But also, like I just said, you can't do them all we can't constantly be feuding with other promotions.
I like the idea of you and House of Glory. I mean, no need to give an opinion. Just I always thought that between the two quote unquote locker rooms, that there was enough bleeding back and forth that if you sat down and really put a good creative story together, there would be a lot of swerves there.
House of Glory?
Yeah. I just think that, it'd be
House of Glory is cool. I think, one of the challenges there is it's hard to tell what bubble the House of Glory fan base is in, Like would it be relevant to both sides? You know, like, do
Makes sense.
GCW fans care enough about House of Glory where it would matter? You know, and
our
vice
House of Glory
versa.
fans into deathmatch.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. That's a great question. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
One last question in the chat here. Where is NGI this year?
I'm working on it.
That's good news.
Yep.
All right, some serious questions. What's your Waffle House order?
We can't answer that question. You're gonna try to get copyright infringement, man. That's Malcolm's thing. We can't ask him that question.
Who asks that?
Muscle Man Malcolm, the guy that always does ask all the wrestlers all the Waffle House orders.
Who is that guy?
Oh, I don't know. I just know. I know him just really from doing the orders on there. I don't know if he has like his own podcast or nothing, but he kind of got famous from doing that little bit and asking all the wrestlers their Waffle
Interesting.
House order.
Well, I don't really go to Waffle House that often, but if I do, I usually would like to get the waffle and scrambled eggs and hash browns, is whatever they call them there. Home fries.
Bacon or sausage? Bacon or sausage?
Bacon.
Man. All right then. Bobby Banks. This is the only one I left the name for. Bobby Banks asks, how many eggs is too many?
I don't remember the answer to this. Nick Gage gave the answer to this once, and I don't remember what it is.
What was it, B?
Wasn't it 10? I thought.
I think it was 10. I can't remember. Stupid question.
I don't know, but if I was going to sit down and eat eggs, I think, I don't know, when you hit like what, 5 or 6, that's like beyond the normal big omelet, isn't it?
About 4 would be max for someone my size. I ain't trying to crush food like that.
Yeah, so I think, maybe if you really want to push it or do it for sport, probably 5 or 6 would be pushing your luck.
Best pizza in the AC area.
Oh God, Tony Bologna's.
Best pizza in the LA area you've had.
What's that?
Best pizza in the LA area. Or what are you eating out here? Is it burritos? Is it tacos? Like,
no, I don't really fuck with burritos or tacos like that.
Yeah.
When I come to LA, I used to always like to go to the Rainbow. The night I get in, and then the day of the show, it's actually varied a lot lately, but we used to always go to eat at the Rainbow the night before, and we would go to the House of Pies usually after the show. Or there's another place called Garage Pizza, but I wouldn't say that Garage Pizza is special. It's just a pizza place near the UCC that's open late, really late. Damn, we used to go to House of Pies. You guys know what House of Pies is?
I heard you mention it on Patreon one time, but I haven't been there. No.
It's like a diner that specializes in, diner stuff, but also like they have like 72 different pies to choose from. But its claim to fame is that it's where Quentin Tarantino wrote either Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction. I'm not sure which one, but just sitting in the booth there at House of Pies is apparently where he wrote it.
Did not know that. That's badass.
As a diner, I would give it a 6 or a 6.5 out of 10.
But it's open, you said, so that kind of knocks it up a little, right? Yeah.
We used to also go to we used to go to Cantor's Deli. Do you guys know Cantor's?
Yeah, I heard of that one.
Yeah, because that was also open late over in the Fairfax section. Which actually I don't know why we stopped going there. I might have to go back.
Ash asks, what is your sheets order?
Ew, come on. You guys want to know something about Ash?
This is the time to do it. Yeah.
You know that Ash is a member of the Sheets He's a member of the Sheets Fry Club. Did you know that?
We do now.
News.
You know how you're like subscribed to Netflix every month?
Yeah.
He's subscribed to the Sheets French Fry Club.
Wow, there is such a thing, huh?
Oh yeah.
Do you just like walk in and show your card or something?
He walks in, he goes up, you get a free order of fries every time you go to Sheets if you're in the French Fry Club.
You know what? For a fat guy, that sounds like a cool club for me. I can't hate
I've
on it.
I've seen how it's redeemed, and I just yeah, the guy walks out. I've seen him take fries home 3-4 hours from the Sheets.
I love it. All right. So if you weren't in the professional wrestling industry, what would you be doing right now, Brett?
Really, honestly, tough question. Probably up to no good and struggling.
Do you think you would have maybe taken on a small business somewhere?
I'm not sure. I mean, when I started doing this, I had no prospects for anything. Not meaning I wasn't capable, but I didn't have the resources to do anything. So, whether I would have started some other business, I don't know. I may have tried, but damn, Chris Jericho went spilling off that ladder to the floor.
Which match is this one?
I don't know. It's under the same compilation. It's
Okay.
tag team TLC matches. It looks like it's the Dudleys. The Dudleys and I'm sorry, who is I can't even. RVD is in it, Spike Dudley, Chris Jericho,
like
the Hardys.
Crew. Yeah.
There's a lot of people in this match.
Ash wanted to defend himself. He says it's $9.99 and it pays for itself after 3 visits.
Well, I can tell you that Ash doesn't live within 4.5 to 5 hours of a Sheets. So,
God damn, Ash, what's good? Those fries must be really good.
I'm about to say, what is that?
There's something in those fries. Let's see here. Okay, 50 years from now, Brett, what are you remembered for when it's all said and done?
I don't know. 50 years from now, I have to imagine that the fandom will have probably turned over many times in 50 years. So hopefully they just remember me at all. And yeah, and that nobody hopefully GCW is even still remembered in 50 years.
Okay, so fans are they like to think about the past a lot. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a cult thing. You know what I mean? And I think that there are things going on at GCW in 20 years may not be going on anymore. And I think people will want to go back and watch that just like they watch, other companies from the 90s and 2000s. Nostalgia is big for fans.
Yeah.
And I think so. That GCW is a cultural phenomenon is what I kind of look at it as in the wrestling industry. Especially
I appreciate that.
Especially given the odds you have, because everybody's being bought up and taken up on TV, and it's not easy, man. For people who understand, you really do have an uphill battle, more than I think most people would know dealing with the independent industry. I mean, there's so many emotions, there's so many contracts, so many companies, so many egos, yada, yada, yada. And you have to somehow balance that. And, remember how to approach each performer. Remember, it's just, you have to have probably, I'm guessing, a cheat list for the states and what's allowed and what's not allowed, if you want to, it's up to you. Do you want to brag about what you've done with GCW in this time, or you want to stay?
I don't need to brag. I'm just very proud of our company. And
yeah. Well, I don't know if there's much. Let's see. No, there's really not much more that I really want to ask. do you really just want to give us a little bit of the state of GCW just on where you're looking for GCW to go in 2026? Is there maybe a greater focus on something, or
I just want to continue to keep momentum going and do cool stuff, make new fans, meet new fans, and just have cool shows. I know that's really generic, but I feel like that's real, honestly, like a back to the basics answer for us.
that's what's profitable and that's what keeps it simple? That's the KISS method, I think, is what you're using there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Brant, by any chance, did you have any other questions, or fans had any other pertinent questions? Because we have kept Brett for quite a while so far.
I guess, what is Brett snacking on right now?
Uncrustable.
Uncrustable.
Oh, that's what's up, dude. Grape or strawberry?
Strawberry.
Oh,
yeah,
they got grape at Costco. Let's see
no,
here.
I think all the pertinent questions for Brett's time for close to over 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
We were on for about half an hour, and then you took out the rest of the time, brother. 2 hours plus.
Wow. How many people were listening?
Oh, that's a great question, Brant. Do you have
total? Let's see here.
Get into the analytics.
I'm hopping in there. Let's see.
And we did strictly YouTube tonight too. No Twitter or Facebook.
Wow.
Well, we do that to condense the numbers down and get everybody into one spot. Sometimes it's easier to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we send out our audio on Spotify and whatnot.
Yep, 400 as of right now.
Oh, nice.
That's just sitting. Okay, good. Good. It's only what, 1 a.m. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it. What do you think we close out the show, B? And Brett, if you could just stay with us when we say goodbye. I have a couple things I want to I took some notes on to show you about the Ricky O interview, and we can bounce out.
Sure.
Sweet, man. All right, well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you, everyone in the chat. Once again, awesome questions here. And so if we didn't get to all of them, we apologize. But yeah, we kept Brett for 3 hours here, so
oh yeah,
we'll save more for the next time, because as Brett said, hopefully we'll get him on again after homecoming at some time, and we'll go and review the last few shows from there too.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you again, Brett, and let's send him out of here real fast with a long live G.
We're working on it. GCW. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a fantastic night.
Thank you all.